Good morning, everyone. Guys, good morning. सो के उठ गया ना? चलो ठीक है. The last time we met, I think we are done with the preamble chapter, right? Preamble done? Great. So please give the heading part 1 of the Constitution. Which is Union and its territories. Union and its territories. See, if you remember, in the very first class, while we were discussing about the salient features of Indian Constitution, one of the features that we discussed was that Indian polity is kind of a federal polity with the unitary bias. Remember? Now, if you look at that particular part, how there is a unitary bias, there is no more explicit part than part 1 of the Constitution itself, which makes it amply clear. Now, if you look at this part, it's one of the probably maybe the smallest of the parts of the Constitution, having just 4 articles, Article 1, 2, 3, and 4. However, if you look at the amount of understanding that is derived from these 4 articles, it is huge. Now, particularly if you look at a written constitution, there are many written constitutions around the globe, and all the written constitutions are written by a dedicated body called as the Constituent Assembly. If you look at the work of a Constituent Assembly while drafting a written constitution, all of them, they try to follow a kind of a format where a written constitution initially would have a preamble or a preface, and you remember, this practice comes from that of United States of America of writing a preface. The very first thing, substantive, that any written constitution would have is about the territory of that country. Because that constitution is the supreme law of the land, remember? So territory of the country. The next thing that they would talk about is the people living in that particular country. Because end of the day, that constitution is also an aspirational document. Remember? Aspiration of people. Third, it would talk about rights of the people. And then duties of the state. And then institutions for governance and so on and so forth. Getting it? This kind of a structure, the Constituent Assemblies world around would try to take. And the Indian Constitution is a textbook example of this particular format, isn't it? The very first thing that we read was preamble. The first part of the Constitution is Union and its territories that we will read today. Part 2 of the Constitution that we'll read today also is citizenship. 3 is about fundamental rights. 4th is about DPSPs. And if you go on ahead, you will look at institutions for governance of the center as well as the states. Getting the point? This is a logical format that is followed by the constitution makers. Looking at part 1 of the constitution, as I said, it is having 4 articles. And each of the article is equally important. Let's try to read Article 1 itself first. Article 1 has got 3 clauses. And the very first one is Article 1, Clause 1. Has any one of you got a Bare Constitution? Bare Act? Bare Act, please open it. तुम लोग पॉलिटी क्लास क्या करने आते हो बिना कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के? All of you have got smartphones, right? Why don't you download Constitution of India app? At least keep referring to the articles when the teachers are teaching here Indian polity. I've told you multiple times that in the UPSC exam you will come across a few questions which you cannot solve unless and until you have at least seen the constitution once. And I'm 100% sure you are never going to go back home, open constitution and read it at once. So the best time to look at a constitution is the class itself while you are reading the article in the class. Getting it? So if you're not having it, then look at the board. Article 1, Clause 1, which says that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. This is the very first article of the Constitution, Article 1, Clause 1, which says India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. When we read this particular statement in Article 1, Clause 1, it tells us about two sets of information. There are two very, very important information which are derived from this particular place. The very first one is the official name of the country. And what is the official name of the country? It is India, that is Bharat, which means there are two names provided for this particular territory. Now in the Constituent Assembly, there was a group of people who wanted to go ahead with the modern connotation of India, a modern name that surfaced majorly during the recent centuries, and they wanted to stick to India. On the other hand, there were few members in the Constituent Assembly who wanted to continue with the traditional cultural perspective of Bharat. And then in the Constituent Assembly was Pandit Nehru, who said that there is no point of creating a friction on names, rather let's take a middle path, and he wrote India, that is Bharat, which means it is up to us which name we want to prefer or rather refer to. Both the names are equally important and equally mentioned in the Constitution. Just a few months back, we came across a political scenario wherein the names were used to differentiate. However, that scenario is for all those people who have not seen their Constitution. For you who have seen it, you should know it depends on you what kind of a name you want to use. Both India as well as Bharat are mentioned in the Constitution, which alternatively also means that any other name that we give to this land is not an official name. For example, calling India as Hindustan, it is not an official name. Abhi election results aaya hai, Akhand Bharat, that is not an official name. Getting it? There are just two official names, which is India or Bharat. It depends on you what you want to use. Both are completely fine. Other than this quantitative information of official name, it also provides for a qualitative set of information, which is, it also tells us what kind of a polity is there in India. And what kind of a polity does it state? It states, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. So what kind of a polity we have? We have a union or a unitary polity. Now you already know the difference between unitary and federal polity, right? So in a union, who is more powerful, center or state? Center, obviously. So it states that India is a union of states, which means it is talking about two sets of government. On the one hand, it is talking about center or the central government, and on the other hand, it is talking about regional or what in India we call as state government. And who is more powerful of the two? It is the center who is more powerful because the term union is mentioned in the Constitution. Getting it? So what is India? India is nothing but a union of states, which means an addition, an integration of states. Wherein if you see, the center is an independent authority or entity, state is also an independent entity. But ultimately, who is more powerful? Ultimately, the center is more powerful because that is the concept of a unitary form of government or a union. Now, if you look at the relationship between the center and the state, do understand that both center and state have to parallelly progress in order to make a development in the country. It cannot be the scenario that center is progressing but the states are not, or states are progressing but the center is not. Rather, it is both center as well as state, both have to develop parallelly in order for this country to develop, which means they have to cooperate, which means they have to coordinate, which means they have to associate, which means they have to act together. But at the same time, because they are independent entities, there is a great amount of friction also between the center and the states, isn't it? Rather, a part of the Constitution is dedicated to this only. Center-state relationship, part 11. In there, you will read more about the problems in the relationship than about the cooperation. Getting the point? So if you informally look at the relationship between the center and the state, it is exactly like the relationship between a husband and a wife. Both have to grow together, both have to stay in the same house, both have to rear the children and then make a progressive family. But at the same time, both will fight with each other day and night. That is exactly the relationship between center and state. This informal relationship is important to understand because more than state, there is another entity which you need to understand. That is the union territories. Though it is not mentioned here in Article 1, we will read it later in another clause of Article 1. But you should understand that if the relationship between center and state is like husband and wife, then the relationship of UTs with the center is like that of a child and a father. That is why many a time union territories are also called as unions territories. Whose territories? Union territories. Getting it? So union territories are like children of the center. Now you very well know what a child does. A child does whatever Papa says. Remember this line, because in part 8 of the Constitution you will read about union territories, and there you will come across NCT of Delhi, which will create a lot amount of confusion whether autonomy lies with Delhi or not. Remember, at the end of the day, Delhi is a union territory. And end of the day, UTs are like children of the center, and a child does whatever Papa says. So end of the day, Delhi has to obey whatever center says. Remember this line. Getting it? It will help you solve MCQs, because there are many confusion in the scenarios of NCT of Delhi. Is this clear to all of you? This is the set of information that we derive from Article 1, Clause 1. If you go to Article 1, Clause 2, it states that the states and territories are mentioned in Schedule 1. So if you go to Schedule 1, if you are having an app or a Bear Act, please scroll through or go to Schedule 1. You will be able to see that all these states are mentioned in Schedule 1. How many states are there in India right now? 28. So the list starts with Andhra Pradesh and continues for another 27 entries. So total are 28 states. Once this list of the state is done, another table starts, which is the list of union territories. And the very first entry in that particular list is the name of Delhi. Just to remind you back that Delhi is a union territory, and at the end of the day, a child does whatever Papa says. Getting the point? So all these states and union territories of India, where are they mentioned? They are mentioned in Schedule 1 of the Constitution. Clear to all of you? Is this clear to all of you? Okay. The next provision or the last of Article 1 is Article 1, Clause 3, which is rather a very, very important one. This Article 1, Clause 3 defines to us a term called as territory of India. It defines to us a term, territory of India. Unlike if you look at Article 1, Clause 1, which was telling us about union of states, which means only state came in. There was no mention of anything called as a union territory in Article 1, Clause 1. If you look at 1, Clause 3, territory of India, it states that the territory of India includes all the territories of the states plus all the territories of the union territories. See explicitly the term union territories is coming in Article 1, Clause 3, and any territory that might be acquired by India. Now in the last class we have already read that India is a sovereign country. As a sovereign country we can acquire any territory. So if we acquire any territory, that territory also becomes a part of territory of India as per Article 1, Clause 3. Getting it? Right now how many states are we having? 28. How many UTs are we having? 8. Any acquired territory with India right now? None. So right now, territory of India includes all the states and all the union territories. Isn't it? If you look at this particular term, all these states combine to form what? Article 1, Clause 1, Union of States, or what is also called as Union of India. Right? So if I look like this, can I say geographically that territory of India is a larger landmass than that of Union of India? Can I say that? Absolutely yes, because Union of India includes only states, whereas territory of India includes states as well as union territories. Clear to all of you? Now this territory of India that you see is what is called as Indian polity, Indian nation, or Indian country. It is this territory of India that is referred as polity of India. And what is the salient feature of polity of India? That it has a federal polity with a unitary bias. Remember? And that's why we have names like we are quasi-federal polity or federation sui generis. Remember these terms? Right? And we do not call ourselves as a pure federation. Why we don't call ourselves as a pure federation? Because for political scientists world over, a federation means the polity of that of United States of America. If any country deviates from the model that is given by US, then that country is no more regarded as a federal polity, a federation, or the example of federalism. As a result of which, the Indian constitution makers, they call our polity not as a pure federation, but as a quasi-federal polity or federation sui generis. Isn't it? First class we discussed about this, right? Now, if you look at this term federation as a term, this term comes from United States of America. And whenever we say federation, our imagination would also take us to that of United States of America. Now, if you look at United States of America and its polity, then even United States of America was also under colonial occupation. And in 1776, the War of Independence started in America. And after fighting a rigorous war, in the year 1787, 13 colonies, they got independence from their colonial master. Right? 1787, they got freedom from their colonial masters. How many colonies? 13 colonies. Now, these 13 colonies at that point of time took a very, very important decision. At this juncture of time, these 13 colonies could have grown into 13 independent countries. But under the able leadership of Washington, these 13 colonies, they understood one thing, that united we stand and divided we fall. As a result of which they understood that if we have to grow progressively, faster in a pace, it is important that we stick together. Rather than growing as 13 independent countries, let's grow as a single country. Which means these 13 colonies, they agreed to remain together. All of them, they agreed to remain together. And there comes the idea of signing an agreement to remain together. Initially, which was 13 colonies, and later, which today becomes 50 states. So these 50 states, they agreed to remain with each other and form what is called as today United States of America. Now, you sign an agreement always based on your free will. Was anyone compelling these 13 colonies or today the 50 states to be a part of United States of America? No, they themselves decided that together we will stand. As a result of which they applied their free will to sign this agreement and form what is called today as United States of America. This agreement that you see today is what is called as the Constitution of US. It is this constitution only, which is nothing but an agreement between all the 50 states that they will grow together. And this constitution came into being in the year 1789. Right? 1789. So this 1789 constitution is what is the guarantor applying the free will that these 50 states will stay together as United States of America. So if I show you a map of 1786, let's suppose, and I ask you, where is United States of America? Can you show me? No, you cannot, because there was nothing called as United States of America in 1786. However, if I show you a map any day after 1789, you'll be very well placed to show me, sir, this is United States of America. Why? Because the existence of US comes from the agreement which was signed in 1789. Getting it? It is this agreement which gives us United States of America. And remember, an agreement is always signed based on free will. On the other hand, if I come to India, is there any such particular year or a date to say that on this particular date, India came into existence? Like, can I say that 1947, India came into existence? Can I? Not really. If I'll show you a map of 1930s, can't you show me where India is? You can, very well. Maybe the territory will change a little, but you'll be able to indicate a part of the world saying that, sir, this part of the world is called as India. Isn't it? If I take you back and show a map of maybe 15th century, will you be able to show me where India is? Absolutely yes, you will be able to show me. Again, the territory might vary a little, but then you'll be able to say that, sir, this is India, where the European countries are coming for trade. If I'll show you a map of, let's suppose, 5th century AD, will you be able to show me India? Absolutely yes. Sir, this is the place where Guptas are there, isn't it? If I show you a map of 1st century BC also, will you be able to show me India? Yes, you will say, sir, Greeks used to call this land as Indica, and they came here. Which means there is no such particular date on which India came into existence, but then this land has been ancient and primitive, primordial, what we say. It has been there. However, one important date is that of 15th August 1947. If you understand what happened on 1947, all of you already know that the Indian Independence Act 1947 was passed. Now, what this act does? It gives freedom to India, right? Freedom from the colonial rule of the Britishers. Now, understand technically, when we say freedom came with Indian Independence Act 1947, all of you know in 1947, India was having two kinds of territories. One was British provinces and the other was princely states. Now, technically understand, every time you say that we got freedom from Britishers, this Indian Independence Act gave freedom only to the British provinces. It gave freedom only to the British provinces. Complete India didn't get freedom. The British provinces got the freedom with the Indian Independence Act. Then what happened to the princely states? Choice was given to princely states. And what was the choice given to princely states? That they can join either India or Pakistan, or even they can remain free or independent. These three choices were given to the princely states by the Indian Independence Act 1947. Now, once the act was passed and Dominion of India and Dominion of Pakistan came into existence, came into being, the very first thing they did after being Dominion states is that they cancelled the option of the princely states to remain independent entities, which means they said, sir, either you have to join India or you have to join Pakistan. There is no such option of remaining free. Getting the point? Now, if you look at the particular scenario of India and princely states in 1947 to that region of 1950 when integration of states was happening, then there was an informal understanding between Dominion of India and Dominion of Pakistan. And that was very simple, that all those princely states which fell into the mainland area of India would join India, whereas those which falls on the other two parts would be joining that of Pakistan. This informal understanding that you see was based on two criterias. Number one is geographical proximity of the princely states. If a princely state is placed here, then geographically speaking, it is closer to India, hence it should be a part of dominion of India. On the other hand, the second criteria was that of religious composition. And you very well know why and how Pakistan was created. So religious composition also mattered a lot. If you look at these areas, these are Muslim majority areas where Pakistan advocated a separate land. As a result of which, what was the understanding? These princely states will fall to India and these princely states would go to that of Pakistan. If you look at the number of princely states which were to be integrated to India at that point of time, it was close to 562. And most of them were ready to join Pakistan, join India, except 3 who created some problem. The very first one was Hyderabad. Now, if you look at the geographical proximity and religious composition, it is in favor of India. But then the Nizam, he wanted to join Pakistan. So he said, I want to become a part of Pakistan. यहाँ रह के पाकिस्तान का पार्ट कैसे बनेगा? बोला इधर से गोवा देना मेरे को. गोवा के पोर्ट से मैं पाकिस्तान जाऊंगा. गोवा दिया हमने किसी को. So the moment he said that I want to become a part of Pakistan, next day, Sardar Patel, a man who needs no introduction. The very next day, Hyderabad was a part of India, right? So you will read all of these in post-independence history. I'll not kill your excitement. Read about Sardar Patel and Menon. You will like them. Or rather, you will fall in love with them. The kind of people they were. Anyways, so Hyderabad fell to India. The other 2 territories which created some problem, here was Jammu and Kashmir, and here was a place, Junagadh. Getting it? Now, Jammu and Kashmir technically was to go to Pakistan, and Junagadh was to come to India. Again, the idea is same, geographical proximity and religious composition. Now, if you look at these 2 areas, Jammu and Kashmir and Junagadh, demographically speaking, these 2 areas are exactly opposite. Jammu and Kashmir is having a huge Muslim population ruled by a Hindu king. On the other hand, Junagadh is a Hindu majority subject population ruled by a Muslim king. Getting it? So the idea was J&K would go there and Junagadh would come here. But if you look at J&K, we never have given J&K to anyone. And there are multiple reasons for it. See, generally we speak about Sardar Patel, who has been the archstone of integration of states in India, and he is. But at the same time, we should not also underestimate the contribution of another 2 leaders. One is Pandit Nehru and the other is Lord Mountbatten. It is the informal friendship of Pandit Nehru with Lord Mountbatten which helps India to become as big as it is possible. So though the Britishers, they agreed to the idea of partition of India into India and Pakistan, Mountbatten helped a lot Nehru in making India as big as possible. Otherwise, think about it. What is there for a retiring, going back Governor General Mountbatten to call for a press conference and to address all the princely states that if you want a better future, it is good to join India? Which is nothing but he is incentivizing the princely states to join India. Now the idea was very simple. Idea was make India as big as possible and Pakistan as small as possible. Now with this in mind, look at Jammu and Kashmir. That is a big princely states. If you give it to Pakistan, geographically speaking, the landmass is too big. But then the idea was to make India as big as possible. Hence, Jammu and Kashmir has to stay back to India. At the same time, look at the strategic location of J&K. It is like a buffer state between the Indian mainland and that of Central Asian countries. Isn't it? It lies at a trijuncture of Pakistan, China, and that of the Central Asian countries. As a result of which, this is strategically very, very, very important to us. Demographically also, J&K is important to us. Though we say that it is a Muslim majority population, you need to understand 2 things. Number 1, it is not a uniformly distributed Muslim majority population. Even J&K can be divided into two parts. The northern part where Muslim population is high and the southern part where Hindu population is high. At the same time, a very, very important thing, Pakistan was created on the demand of a religion. India was never retained on the demand of religion. We never said that India is going to be established based on Hinduism or any other religion. Rather, anyone and everyone had equal say and stay in India. So religious composition was the important thing for Pakistan to be formed, but not India to retain back, as a result of which we had no such discrimination that because it is a Muslim majority province, it should go to Pakistan, though Pakistan wanted it. Getting the point? Now there are other reasons also, like political. For example, Pandit Nehru, he is a Kashmiri Pandit. Now he comes from Jammu and Kashmir, to be exact Kashmir. How can he give away his home itself? Isn't it? Do you know Jinnah has got a house in Bombay? Huh? What are we doing with that house? Any idea? Are we using it? No. Pakistan has been asking for that house since the last 4 years. कि दे दो हमको, हम embassy बनाएंगे. नहीं दे रहे हम. We are not doing anything with the house. खंडर बना के रखा है. But we are not giving it. Think about it. Had Jammu and Kashmir fallen to Pakistan, what would I be teaching you today? That the house of the first Prime Minister of India lies in Pakistan and the house of Muhammad Ali Jinnah is still in India. So what we decided? To keep both. Not to give any. The point is, the moment Hyderabad was attacked, Pakistani understood that now the next target would be Jammu and Kashmir. They very well knew Sardar Patel, so they understood the next attack is going to be on Jammu and Kashmir. And they thought it would be a smarter way to attack Jammu and Kashmir first. And they attacked Jammu and Kashmir. Now the point is, that was a part of the plan. Now you already understood that with the passing of Indian Independence Act, this option is no more there. So either you have to join India or Pakistan. So if Pakistan attacks you, what option do you have? Only one option. So Raja Hari Singh, the king of the princely states of Jammu and Kashmir, would come to Sardar Patel and said, "Sir, Pakistan has attacked us." "Acha, kab?" "Sir, kal." "Acha, kya kare?" "Sir, I need some help." "What kind of help?" "Sir, army assistance." "Okay, we will give you army assistance." "Then give, sir." No, for that you have to sign one paper. What is that paper? Instrument of accession. You sign this and we give you the army assistance. So he signed and army assistance was given. Similarly, if you look at Junagadh, it's a very interesting story. Read sometime back at home. Junagadh was Hindu majority population with a Muslim king. The king always wanted to become a part of Pakistan. However, the major population was in favor of India. And you already know what was the hobby of the king. He was a true dog lover. There were trains for dogs to travel in Junagadh. Marriages of dogs were celebrated and reception was also given. Khana bhi milta tha. ठीक है. This person, he fled away in the fear of Sardar Patel. When all of these happened, he understood, next target is me only. So he fled away. Now who told us that he fled away? The queen, wife of the ruler, told us. Now the logical point is, if the king fled away, what is the queen doing back in India? The point is, the king left the queen and went away alone. Not alone, to be exact, the queen intimated with 3 of his favorite dogs. See, the point is not whether wife was left behind or dogs were taken. The point is clarity in life. He knew exactly किसको लेके जाना है और किसको छोड़ के जाना है. ठीक है, तो भाग गया यहाँ से. Anyways, Junagadh was then annexed. Junagadh became a part of India. Now, why I told you all of this story is to understand one thing. Tell me one thing. Was any of the princely states, the other were easily part of India, at least these 3, was any of the princely state given with a free will to join India? No. Was any of the princely states requested by Sardar Patel that, sir, please think if we will grow together, we will grow faster? No. Rather, India was created by hook or crook. Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. That is only post-independence history. Whatever was needed was applied to make what you see today on the world map as India by Sardar Patel and team. Getting it? So unlike United States of America, where 50 states decided to join together by signing an agreement and form what we called as United States of America, there is no such agreement in case of India, where all the states would come together and say that we are forming the United States of India. Getting it? And that's why there is no such date to say exactly that India came into existence because of so and so agreement on so and so date. So there was no free will at all in India. Getting it? Now in the Constituent Assembly, there were many members who told Dr. Ambedkar that, sir, in our polity there are many features of federal polity. Why don't we write down that India is a federation? Dr. Ambedkar replied, see, the Federation of United States of America is different, whereas the polity that we are having in India is completely different. Though we have some features, we do not have the prime cause, and the prime feature is free will. There is a free will behind signing an agreement and forming United States of America. There is no free will behind forming of India. Now understand one thing, if there is an exercise of a free will, signing of an agreement to come together using the same free will, you can go away also, you can secede also, you can withdraw your participation also. Now in United States of America, this question came because there is a free will. So some of the states said that we no more want to become a part of United States of America, rather we want to withdraw from the federation. Now this resulted into a civil war between the northern states and the southern states in United States of America. It went on to a civil war, which was later finalized in the Supreme Court of United States, where the Supreme Court said that the states can exercise their free will to withdraw from the union. However, for that to happen, they have to defeat the combined forces of the union, which is practically means you cannot. However, philosophically there is a free will. Combined union forces, matlab, think about Bihar police defeating Indian Army, Navy and Air Force. That is what is combined forces. Getting it? Now, you know that Indian Constitution is a document of collective wisdom, where the drafting committee was not just looking at other constitutions, but was also analyzing their cumulative experience of what has happened. Now, Dr. Ambedkar very well analyzed that because of the presence of free will in United States of America, not only joining, but rather withdrawing causes a bigger problem. And that withdrawing caused a civil war in America. Ambedkar said in the Constituent Assembly, we are not ready for any civil war in India. We are a newly independent country, and what we need today is a strong center to guide all the states to march forward. Today, we cannot at all invest in any kind of a civil war. And what was the cause of civil war? A single cause, free will. So Dr. Ambedkar said, it is the pragmatic requirement of India that free will shall not be there in India, neither to join to become a part of India, nor to withdraw from India. So the basic difference between that of America and India is the presence and absence of a free will of the states. If you look at the relationship between union and states in America, it is based on an agreement. Both are equally important. But if you look at the union and the states in India, they are not equal. Rather, the relationship is a one-sided relationship, where the union can do anything and everything with the center. The union can do anything and everything with the states. However, the states cannot do anything with the center. Getting it? And that's why we say we have a federal polity. Those states are there. We have a unitary bias. And that's why comes the statement that United States of America is an indestructible union of indestructible states. Free will is there. So you cannot touch a part of the state. There is an agreement to conserve the state. Whereas in India, There is no such agreement, and hence it is called India is an indestructible union of destructible states. Practically speaking, the union can redraw the political map of India as per its will. If you look at the Indian map, other than Rajasthan and Assam, if you leave these two states, every other state that you see has been played off politically by the center. It is up to the center what kind of a political map it wants to redraw. And that we will understand in more detail. Is this clear to all of you? Then quickly write, Article 1 states, Article 1 states, number 1, Union of India includes only the states. Union of India includes only the state and not any union territory. Union of India includes only the states and not any union territories. Point number 2, there is no concept of free will in case of India. There is no concept of free will in case of India. The relationship between the center and the state, is one-sided, where the union is much more powerful, than that of the states. Hence, it is referred that India is an indestructible union. India is an indestructible union with destructible states, whereas US, United States of America, USA, is an indestructible union with indestructible states. Remember this sentence, this complete part 1 will only explain you this sentence more and more, that India is a indestructible union with destructible states. Clear? Is Article 1 clear to all of you? Article 1 समझ में आया? ठीक है. Let's go to Article 2 then. Right, admission and establishment of states. Admission and establishment of states. ठीक है. Open the constitution if you have, otherwise write down that Parliament by law can admit into the union or establish new states as per conditions it deems fit. Parliament by law can admit into the union or establish new states as per conditions it deems fit. We'll read about admit and establishment, which are the two key words here. One is admit and the other is establish. Who can admit or establish? The Parliament can admit or establish. Parliament can admit or establish. What they can admit or establish? New state. So we are not talking about the already existing state. And there are already 28 states in India. So we are not talking about these 28 states. Rather, we are talking about something else. Which means we are not talking something about what is there already inside India. Rather, we are talking about something which is there outside India. Isn't it? New states mean a piece of land which is not already a part of India. So basically, Article 2 is talking about external arrangements. Article 2 is talking about external arrangements. And how can we do external arrangement? By two processes, either by establishing or by admission or admitting. Now what is admit and establish? Let's try to understand. So we are talking about external. So we are talking about something which is outside India. Let's suppose far away there is a piece of land. And that piece of land is already known by some name. Let's suppose XYZ land. Getting it? So there is already a self-contained unit. Everyone knows that the area is known by XYZ land. Even before India went there or Indians went there was a name to that particular land. And what was the name? XYZ land. If you add this XYZ land to India as the 29th state of India, you have already 28 states. This would become 29th state of India. So this process would be called as the process of admission or admitting. Getting it? For example, all of you got admission into Wajiram. Before the admission also there was an identity to you. It is not that the admission only gave you the identity of your life. You already had a name and an identity. See, XYZ is already having a name and an identity. What you are doing? You are adding it as the 29th state of India. That process would call as admitting or admission. On the other hand, if you talk about establishment, then suppose there is a piece of land somewhere far away, but then there is no recognition to that piece of land. Rather, we Indians, we only went there, demarcated the boundary in that piece of land and started calling it ABC land. Was there any ABC land before Indians went there? Nothing. Rather, we only went there, demarcated an area and started calling it ABC land. This process is called as the process of establishing, which is from origin. So what is the difference? Here, already it was a self-contained unit, XYZ. Whereas here, there was no such unit. We only established that unit. And after establishment, obviously, we will admit it to India to make it a new state. Getting the point? Is this clear to all of you? This is said by Article 2, which is admission or establishment of new states. Who can do it? Parliament can do it. Now you see, as per conditions, it deems fit. Who would determine those conditions? It is Parliament. So who is more powerful? Center is more powerful than that of the states. Even what are the conditions to admit or establish is also decided by the center and not the states. Is this clear to all of you? On that note, understand that Article 2 is completely useless. If it is useless, tell me something. Can I give an example of it? Obviously no. Logically think about it. Useless means it has not been used till date. If it has not been used till date, can I give an example of it? No, not really. Now if in your mind you are thinking about Sikkim or Goa or Pondicherry or any other place, hold for some time, I'll explain you. ठीक है, ये नहीं है. Article 2 नहीं है. Got the point? So Article 2 is completely useless, which is external arrangement. Anyways, external arrangement are something which are a very, very rare phenomena. Rather, what is the common phenomena? Common phenomena is internal adjustments or arrangements, right? So please give the heading internal arrangements. Yes. Bolo. That is for scientific exploration. तो फिर शेड्यूल 1 में नाम लिखते ना बेटा, अंटार्कटिका का ये पार्ट हमारा 29 स्टेट या यूनियन टेरिटरीज है। चलो, internal arrangement which is more common, which is defined by Article 3. Article 3 of the Constitution, right? And what Article 3 states? Article 3 states that Parliament by law can, write it like this, Parliament by law can abolish or form a new state. So it can abolish a pre-existing state or even can form a new state. It can merge two or more states. So someone is asking us, sir, then why Article 2 is still present in Constitution if it is practically not used? For that you need to understand in very simple term that I said it is useless. I never said it is meaningless. There is a vast difference between useless and meaningless. Getting it? That I'll explain you in some time. You have 20 pens, you are writing with one. Why don't you throw away the 19? The 19 are useless for you. You should throw them away. They are not meaningless. Na? Iska refill khatam hoga to dusre se likhenge. So we'll understand it. So it can abolish or form a new state. It can merge two or more states. It can alter the boundaries of the states. It can alter the boundaries of the state. It can increase or diminish the area of the states, or even it can change the name of the state, or even it can change the name of the state. Getting it? So what Article 3 says? Parliament by law can do all of those things. Those things that you see is for states in India, and here states include union territories. So basically you can merge union territories also, you can abolish or form new union territories also, you can alter the boundaries, change the area, or even change the name of union territories also. So here states includes union territories. Now if you look at what is happening with the state over there, it is nothing but destruction of states, isn't it? Remember, India is an indestructible union of destructible states. This is nothing but destruction of states. And who is doing it? Parliament is doing it, which means the union is doing it, right? So Parliament is doing it how? By making a law. Now all of you know how laws are made, right? What is the first step of making a law? Introduction of a bill. Is a bill a law? Is a bill a law? No. What is a bill? Proposal for a law. Very good. What is the second thing? It is 3 Ds of Parliament. What are those? Debate, discuss, and deliberate. Parliament comes from the Latin word parle, which means to talk. So they would talk, debate, discuss, and deliberate what? The proposal for the bill. Proposal for the law, they will discuss. Once they have discussed it adequately, what they would do? Pass it. So they will go for voting, right? And once voting has been done in both the houses, what is the final stage? It would go to the president for her assent. And once the president provides her signature, that bill that you see would become an act. This act is the law, right? That bill is not the law. This act is the law. So in order to do internal adjustments, do anything with the states, what is needed? A law is needed. And a law is passed in these many stages. Now here, in order to use Article 3, to do internal adjustments, there are 2 preconditions to the law. Precondition means before introduction of the bill, two things are to be done. So there are two preconditions here. Preconditions. The first precondition is recommendation of president is required. Recommendation of president is required to introduce the bill. What is the first precondition? Recommendation of the president is required for introduction of the bill. Now this phrase, recommendation of president, you will read it multiple times in the constitution. It will come many a time in the constitution for certain kind of bills that they can only be introduced by recommendation of the president. Let's try to understand it once and for all. Let's try to understand it. What is recommendation of president? See, all of you know that there are two kinds of polity world around. It is parliamentary system and presidential system, the basic two systems, parliamentary system and presidential system. What is the basic difference between parliamentary and presidential system? Basic difference क्या है parliamentary और presidential का? अरे रुको तो बेटा जो पढ़ा रहा है वो सुनना, पड़ोसी को क्या बता रहा है क्या करना है? हाँ, पड़ोसी को तो आप ही बता रहे थे ना, आपका पड़ोसी तो नहीं बता रहा था, पूछ रहा था, तो सुन लेना बेटा जो पढ़ा रहा हूं, क्लास के बाद पूछ लेना, मैं थोड़ी जाऊंगा तुम्हारे साथ घर, वो चला जाएगा. हाँ, व्हाट इज द बेसिक डिफरेंस? यस युवराज, इट इज कंप्लीटली राइट. यस, ऐसा कुछ है ही नहीं. दिस इज समथिंग डिफरेंट. That is about comparison of power of organs. In a parliamentary system, there are two heads. In a presidential system, there is a single head. Don't you know about nominal head and real head? Nominal head is naam ka head. Who is that? President of India. Kaam ka head, real head is Prime Minister, heading the Council of Ministers. Whereas in presidential system, both of these two offices are merged in one office only. The President of US is the nominal head also and the real head also. Getting it? Now if you come back to parliamentary system, India, President and PM, see, all the decisions of the government are taken in the name of the President. Name of the President. But who actually is the decision maker? The Prime Minister is the actual decision maker, right? Prime Minister heading the Council of Ministers. And the Constitution make it a constitutional obligation on the President that he is bound by the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So you'll realize when you read President in detail that the President is nothing more than a rubber stamp. At the end of the day, the President has to exercise anything and everything in accordance with the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So whatever President does is not as a part of his discretionary power. There are hardly 5 situations you will see where the President has some discretionary power. Other than that, whatever the President is doing, all is guided, bound by the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. So every time the President is doing something, it is only the President's name. Who actually is doing it? It is the government, the Council of Ministers who actually is doing it. Council of Ministers is what? Government of the day only. It is the government who is telling the President to do it. Now look at the phrase, recommendation of President is required, which means to introduce these kind of bill, who should recommend it? The President should recommend the bill and say that we are going to introduce Article 3, right? But then we have already understood whatever the President does, it's not a discretionary power of the President, but rather it is the aid and advice of Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister, right? This is the aid and advice. So every time you see recommendation of President is required, what does it mean? That the aid and advice of Council of Ministers is required to tell the President to recommend the bill, which means this always, whenever it is written recommendation of President is required, always has to be a government initiative. Who can take the initiative of using Article 3? It is always government. Now tell me something. In the government of India, Which ministry is responsible for states? Home Ministry. So here who will initiate the bill? It is Ministry of Home Affairs. Understood? So every time recommendation of President is required, what does that mean? It means it has to be a government initiative. Here, Ministry of Home Affairs is responsible for states. Hence, this Article 3 law, it will be introduced by whom? Whose initiative it is? It is Ministry of Home Affairs. Clear to all of you? Point number 1. So what is the first precondition? The first precondition is recommendation of President is required. The second precondition, please write, point number 2. Before introduction of the bill, the proposal has to be sent to the concerned state for its opinion. What is the second precondition? That before we introduce such a bill, in order to do any kind of internal arrangement, that proposal which is talking about internal arrangement, that shall be referred to whom? To that state which it is affecting. To that state it must be sent. And for what are we sending it? In order to get its opinion, so that the state can tender its opinion, what the state thinks about that kind of an arrangement. Getting the point? Now, if we are sending something for opinion, if I send something to you for your opinion, logically it means I am waiting for your opinion to come back, which means I should definitely have a time period that within so and so many days or months you should reply back to me. Now, if you talk about the Constitution is silent on this. This has been multiple times asked. The Constitution is completely silent on this, which means the Constitution does not say within how many days the state has to give back the opinion. However, the President, who will refer it? The President only. So the President, when he sends the proposal to the state, generally gives a time period of 30 days. Generally gives a time period of 30 days. Getting it? Which means who is giving a period of 30 days? The government, because it is a government initiative always. So the Council of Ministers only is saying that within 30 days the states have to respond. Are you getting this point? Now within 30 days, two things can happen. Either the state will respond back or the state will not respond. If the state is not responding, what does that mean? It means that the state does not agree with what the center says. If the state responds back, there are two things that the state might say. The state might say, yes sir, we agree to what you say, or the state might say that, sir, we don't agree to what you say, or rather we agree half part of it, we do not agree to other half part of it, which basically means that the response that would come to the center within 30 days, that response can be divided into two understanding. Either the state will agree or the state will disagree, isn't it? Any other third option? No such option. So agree means whatever the center is saying, the state also says, yes sir, we are okay with it. If this is the condition, it is very, very easy for the center to go ahead, isn't it? The center will go ahead. On the other hand, if you look at here the center, whatever says, is not agreed by the state. So the state does not agree to the proposal sent by the center. But here also, irrespective of what the state says, the center can still go ahead with whatever it thinks fit. If that is the case, and the center can go ahead irrespective of whatever the state says, then the question is, why are we even sending it for their opinion? Isn't it? If end of the day we have to do whatever pleases us, the center, then why are we even sending the proposal for their opinion? Which basically means why the opinion is not binding, right? Opinion is not binding because Opinion is not binding because, number one, try to understand it like this. Suppose the opinion is binding. Suppose, hypothetically, the opinion is binding, which means what? Whatever the state says, the center has to follow it. Isn't it? If that is the case, whatever the state says, the center has to follow it, then logically ask yourself, why even the parliament is doing it? Then the adjustment should be done at state level. Isn't it? If whatever the state says, parliament only has to follow it, then why even the parliament is doing it? Let the state legislature only do it. But the constitution, who the constitution empowers, the parliament or the state? Parliament, which means that the constitution doesn't want the state actually to have any kind of a binding opinion. Now, why the constitution doesn't want? That's because of the pragmatic requirement of absence of free will. If you say that whatever the state says is binding on the center, what does it mean? It means I have a free will. Whatever I say, you have to follow. But are the states in India having any kind of a free will? No, they are not. So the very first point why it is not binding is because of absence of free will. There is no free will to the states. Understood? Point number one. Point number two, understand the literary meaning of opinion. What opinion means? What do you mean by opinion? Opinion means your views. If I ask you, what is your opinion regarding the political scenario of India right now? You'll give me 20,000 opinion. Isn't it? If I'll tell you, tell me how do I teach you polity, you will have 23,000 opinion. But is it going to change me? Not really. Which means opinion literally also means it is just a view. The center just wants to know the view of the state. And nowhere on planet Earth, views are binding on anyone. You can have 20 views on your friend. Does that mean that your friend will change for you? Not really. Getting the point? If you want to understand these 2 points, think it like this. Go back another 75 years. Go back to the time when Sardar Patel and team was trying to integrate India. And think about it not being there. Think about free will being there, or think about opinion being binding. If the opinion is binding, do you think any of the princely states, especially Junagadh, Jammu and Kashmir and Hyderabad, do you think any of the princely states would have agreed to become a part of India? No. Would any of them would have agreed that, sir, take me and merge me to any other state? Sir, change my name, take away my identity, increase my area, decrease my area. Would any one of them have agreed? No, none of them. As a result of which, what Dr. Ambedkar said, we don't need any kind of a free will, and as such, opinion is not binding in case of India. Now the question may come, if the opinion is not binding, why even are we sending it to the states? Then let's do it at the central level itself. Then I would say that, see, there is a salient feature of Indian Constitution. We are a federal polity with unitary bias. Remember, sending the opinion from the center to the state is a part of federal polity. Not listening to the state is the unitary bias. Understood? This is how Article 3 is exercised. Now, look at here. So there are 2 preconditions. The second one is opinion. So basically, whenever we have to introduce Article 3, a law, in order to do internal arrangement, first what we have to do? We have to go for recommendation of the president, which means it is always a government initiative. And second, opinion of the state is tendered for. Once that is done, introduction of bill will happen. In the Parliament chapter, you will read Article 3 kinds of laws are also called as ordinary laws or ordinary bills, which can be introduced in any of the house, either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So you can introduce them in any house. Let's suppose, for example, hypothetically, we introduced it in Lok Sabha. Once these 2 are done, we can introduce it in Lok Sabha. Once it is introduced in Lok Sabha, what the representative of Lok Sabha would do? Debate, discuss and deliberate the matter. And once they have done it, then they are going to vote. Right? Now the moment we come to voting, there are 2 procedures of voting. Either we can vote in a simple way, or we can vote in a complex way, which is also called as simple majority and special majority. So there are two ways, either simple ways or complex ways. Now the question is, what kind of a majority we would take here, simple or special? Simple. Anywhere written? Anywhere written? No. Then how simple? Default. What is default? If not written, then it is ordinary. Convention. Any place it is written, that convention is written, then how can we say? That is what he is saying. Whenever nothing is written, we take simple majority. See, what you are saying is correct. What you are saying is correct. But what I am trying to highlight here is, in the very first class, I gave you a definition of an article. And I told you an article is a standalone provision. Remember? And what is the meaning of a standalone provision? That we should be able to understand that complete article from that article itself. We don't need another article to come in and give us a meaning to that particular article. Another article can always add value to it, remember? So basically what we are saying here, what kind of a majority will be used here, is explicitly given in Article 4. But then, since it is Article 3, we should be able to understand the requirement of Article 3 in Article 3 itself without knowing any other article. That is only the definition of an article, right? So let's try to understand what kind of a majority it would take. Please give the heading, why states are created in India. Why states are created in India. Why states are created. See, it's a very simple thing. All of you know what kind of a polity we have? Federal polity with unitary bias. Rather, the term federation is nowhere written. Union as a term is written in Article 1, Clause 1 itself. So when we say we are a union, who is more powerful, center or state? The center is more powerful. And when we say someone is more powerful, what does it mean? Someone is more responsible also. So when we say that the center is all powerful, it also equally means that the center is all responsible, because with power comes responsibility, right? What kind of responsibility? The responsibility to govern the country. The responsibility of governing the country. And to govern the country effectively, the center has created state governments or states. Remember unitary polity we read? When the workload increases, the center can create many regional governments, very first class, right? So in order to effectively govern the country, what the center has done? The center has created the states. Now tell me something, when we want the center to be all responsible for all governance of the country, what kind of a governance do we want? Good governance or bad governance? Good governance only we want, which means we want the center to be effectively exercising the instruments to provide us good governance. Now tell me something, if for providing good governance, whatever things are needed by the center would need many instruments to govern us effectively in a good governance manner. Whatever instruments are required by the center, that should be provided to the center in simple ways or complex ways. Simple ways, because if you create complexity, center will not be able to get it. As a result of which, all those things which were required by the center in order to govern this country must be effectively available to the center, or what we say, that convenience must be provided to the center. There must be convenience, what is also called as administrative convenience. Because what is governance? Nothing but administration. So administrative convenience must be provided to the center in order to govern the country in an effective manner. Now, in order to provide good governance, it may happen that the center has to go for rearrangement of states. The center can go for rearrangement of states. We have already read it in Article 1. So in order to govern the country, the center might go for rearrangement of states. If the center goes for rearrangement of states, and the idea is effective governance of the country, tell me something, what is needed? A law is needed. Article 3, we have just read. A law is needed, and the law is to be voted either in simple majority or in a special majority. Now tell me something. Convenience is simple majority or complex majority? Simple majority. Convenience means it is conveniently available to you, easily available to you. Easy majority is what kind of a majority? Simple majority, ordinary majority. So basically, what kind of a majority is needed? Simple majority is needed. Getting the point how we are deriving simple majority? Because it is the center who is all powerful, so is all responsible for governance. If it is responsible for governance, what kind of a governance do we need? Good or effective governance. For effective governance, it may go for redrawing the political map of India. Now to redraw the political map, a law is needed, and law is to be passed by some majority, either simple or special. Then what kind of a majority shall be provided to center? Simple majority, so that there is administrative convenience. Getting this point? Please write down then. States are created in India. States are created in India for the administrative convenience of the center. States are created in India for the administrative convenience of the center, comma, as the center is responsible for the effective governance of the country. As the center is responsible for the effective governance of the country. Full stop. Right? Political aspirations, comma, economic demands, political aspirations, comma, economic demands, and cultural consciousness, may influence the center. May influence the center. Full stop. Understood? So why states are created in India? For administrative convenience. Remember this, because if you belong to a state where there is a demand of any other state inside, right? There are many states in which there is still a demand of some new states within. If you belong to such a state, and if you reach the interview stage, they will ask you this question. Do you think so and so area in your state shall be declared as a new state? Getting it? Or rather, if you come from a state which has been created very recently, then they would say, do you think that creation of so and so state was a good decision of the center? Or they may ask you a question like, do you think smaller states in India are more successful than bigger states in India? Like Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, they have been created on the idea that smaller state might go ahead in a faster pace. So they may ask you that, do you think smaller states are better than larger states? For all of these questions, the answer is same. Sir, center creates the states for its administrative convenience. If the center feels that by creating so and so state, it can provide administrative effectiveness or effective governance or good governance, the center may go ahead with creation of a state. Do small state progress faster? Sir, if the center feels that the smaller state can be governed more effectively, then the center may go ahead with creation of smaller state. Getting the point? Uniform answer. Although the last line is important, because they will always try to play with you that last line, that culturally these people are different. There is economic demand of so and so region. There are political aspirations of people. Then you say, sir, these may influence the decision of the center. But ultimately, the criteria which drives through the idea of political redrawing is just one. And that is administrative convenience of center. Why center? Then you say, sir, Article 1 says, India, that is Bharat, is a union of states. Getting the point? See, these kind of questions they'll ask you in interview. You cannot fight on the basis of examples. So never ever run behind example. Always understand the concept. There are 20 examples which will fit to it. Getting it? Always understand the concept. Is this clear to all of you? So if that is the case, then in order to make any kind of internal adjustments, let's look at it. So here it will be simple majority and not complex majority. So let's take one example. Suppose we have to do some internal adjustment. Let's suppose Maharashtra has to be divided into two parts. There is a huge demand from Vidarbha region to be declared as an independent state, right? So if that is to be done, then what is the first thing to be done? Recommendation of president is required. Second, that particular proposal will be referred to which state? To Maharashtra for its opinion, and then we will wait for 30 days, right? And you know exactly what might happen within 30 days? Either yes or no. In both the cases, if the center feels I should go ahead, it will go ahead. For example, bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh. People of Andhra Pradesh said, we don't need any bifurcation. Still, the center went ahead by dividing the state into two parts, right? So then comes the first stage, which is introduction of the bill. Let's hypothetically think it is introduced in Lok Sabha. So Lok Sabha will debate, discuss, deliberate the bill, and then they will vote. Vote by simple majority. And then it would go to Rajya Sabha. Bicameral, Rajya Sabha. Then Rajya Sabha is going to debate, discuss, and deliberate, and then simple majority. Once the bill is passed by both the houses, it will be given to the President of India for her signature. What do you think? She will give her signature or not? Yes. Absolutely yes. Why? She only introduced the bill. नहीं साइन करेंगे तो कितना बुरा लगेगा. खुद ही इंट्रोड्यूस किया, खुद ही साइन नहीं कर रहे हैं. Boys will understand this. क्रिकेट खेलने चलते और खुद ही नहीं गए खेलने. Right? That is what happened in this. Remember, government initiative are always signed by the president. Why? Because they only initiated it. Is it making sense to all of you? Article 3 clear to all of you? Now remember one catch point here. One catch point. If this arrangement includes at least one state, then the two preconditions are followed. If this arrangement does not include any state and is just an arrangement in union territories, then those two preconditions are not required. You may go here, but you will not be requiring these two. For example, very recently we merged two union territories, Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. These are two union territories. So in that case, you do not need to go for preconditions. Rather, you can start from here. And why preconditions are not required? Because what are union territories? Union's territory. If it is your house, you can decorate your house in any way you want. Do you really need to ask somebody else? That's why none of the preconditions are required and you can start directly from here. However, if at least one state is involved, for example, let's suppose we merged one UT to that of a state. Let's suppose Chandigarh is merged with Punjab tomorrow. Then Punjab is a state. Since one state is involved, you have to go ahead with the two preconditions. Yes, please. Don't go to Kashmir. It's a very complex part. For that, you need to understand President's rule first. That's why I stopped you. No need of it. I can't teach you here national emergency and state emergency. If you want to know about Kashmir, stay back after the class. I'll define you completely. Take care. Yeah, please.
If the area of a state is to be increased or decreased,
both the states will be referred. Obviously, the area from another state will be taken, na? हाँ, तो नया जमीन कहाँ से लाएंगे? हाँ, चाइना थोड़ी है. Yes, done. Should we go ahead? Let's go to Article 4 then. Right, Article 4. And there are two clauses to Article 4. Article 4 Clause 1 and 4 Clause 2. Let's write down Article 4 Clause 1, which says that any law made under Article 2 and Article 3 to provide for amendments to Schedule 1 and 4 and any incidental, supplemental, and consequential matters. ठीक है, बस इतना लिखो, इतना ही चाहिए, नेक्स्ट वाला कुछ भी नहीं है. ठीक है, so any law made under article 2 and 3 is to provide for amendments to schedule 1 and 4. Right, let's try to understand this first. It's a easy one. See, any law made under article 2 and 3. So what it says that whenever we will use article 2 and article 3, what is article 2 all about? External arrangements. What is article 3 all about? Internal arrangement. So it says that whenever you will use article 2 or article 3, it will automatically amend schedule 1 and schedule 4 of the constitution. What is schedule 1? We have already discussed this. It is the names of the states and territories, right? What is schedule 4? Any idea? The representatives to Rajya Sabha. Representative to Rajya Sabha. Are Rajya Sabha is council of states, na? So every state has got some representation in Rajya Sabha, which is not equal. In US it is equal. 2 members per state. 50 states, 100 members. But in India, it is not equal. Rather, it depends on population. It differs from state to state. So some state have some number, some state have some other number. How many members one state will have in Rajya Sabha is written in schedule 4. Understood? So this article 4 clause 1 states that whenever we will use article 2 and 3, there will be an automatic amendment to schedule 1 and schedule 4. Think about this. Suppose you do external arrangement, use article 2. Remember, let's suppose hypothetically we are using article 2 to get that XYZ land. What we did after getting it? We made it 29th state of India. When you make it the 29th state of India, don't you need to write the name of the state in the first schedule? That XYZ land is also a state now. At the same time, because it has become a state, now you also need to give some representation of that state in Rajya Sabha, and where you will note it down? In schedule 4. Understood what it is saying? So whenever you will use article 2, automatic amendments will happen here. On the other hand, whenever we will use article 3, which is internal arrangements. For example, Andhra Pradesh was bifurcated into Andhra Pradesh and Telangana state. The moment this Telangana state came in, it is a new state. You need to write the name of the state. Where? In schedule 1. Similarly, since Telangana state is a state, you also need to provide some representative to Telangana state in Rajya Sabha. Where it will be written? In schedule 4. Getting the point? This is what article 4 is saying, that whenever we will use article 2 and 3, it will make automatic changes to schedule 1 and schedule 4. Clear to all of you? Now write article 4 clause 2. Right, any aforesaid law, is not to be deemed as an amendment to the Constitution under article 368. Any aforesaid law is not to be deemed as an amendment to the Constitution under article 368. देखो, बेयर एक्ट लेके आओगे तो मेरे को ये सब लिखना नहीं पड़ेगा. You can directly see from there. ठीक है, do it. मेरे अटेम्प्ट्स खत्म हो चुके हैं, तुम्हारे बच्चे हैं, तो पढ़ो वहां से. इज इट ओनली राज्यसभा एंड नॉट लोकसभा? नो बेटा, वरना लोकसभा लिखता वहां पे, सिर्फ राज्यसभा है. ठीक है, बिकॉज दैट वुड वेरी. लोकसभा यू विल अंडरस्टैंड इज अ डिफरेंट मेथोडोलॉजी ऑल टुगेदर. ठीक, इलेक्शंस जब पढ़ाऊंगा तब बताऊंगा. इज दिस क्लियर? सो व्हाट इट सेज दैट एनी एफोरसेड लॉ. नाउ सी, एफोरसेड लॉ, एफोरसेड मतलब इससे पहले जो बोला गया था, राइट? इससे पहले किस लॉ के बारे में बात कर रहे थे हम? आर्टिकल 2 एंड आर्टिकल 3. aforesaid law was this. So article 2 and 3, the aforesaid laws are not to be deemed as an amendment to the constitution under Article 368. Now all of you know that we can use Article 368 to amend the constitution. And what kind of a majority is needed under Article 368? Special majority is needed. So what this provision says, it says that the usage of Article 2 and 3 is not to be understood as an amendment to the constitution under 368, which means these laws, Article 2 and 3, are not to use special majority. If they are not to use special majority, then what majority remains back? Simple majority. Remember, something that we logically understood in Article 3 is explicitly given in Article 4. So remember, whenever Article 2 and 3 comes into action, I'll dictate this. Whenever Article 2 and 3 comes into action, protection of 4 applies. Now, what is this protection of 4? That it is not special majority. It is written, it is not to be deemed as Article 368. If it is not special majority, then what majority it is? It is a simple majority. Please write, whenever Article 2 and 3, whenever Article 2 and 3 are in action, whenever Article 2 and 3 are in action, protection of Article 4 applies. Protection of Article 4 applies. Protection of Article 4 applies. Okay. Someone here is asking us, is Prime Minister has power to abolish state government? Beta, are we at all talking about governments here, or are we talking about territories? What is part 1 all about? Territorial arrangements. Are we talking about government? Although it is a logical extension only, which somebody was asking us, so I said it is national emergency. Getting it? If yes, then on which ground it happens? Article 352, Article 356, Article 360. 3 kind of emergencies you will read. Okay? Can center can give territory of state, sir? Give to whom? Give to whom, Sumant? Give to whom? To you as your birthday gift. Acha. Okay, that we will read. That we will read. Okay? Is this clear to all of you? It is not special majority, but it is simple majority. ध्यान से सुनो जो पढ़ा रहा हूं, ऐसे पढ़ाओगे तो 1 बजे क्लास खत्म होगी. ठीक है? Schedule 1 please explain, sir. बेटा शेड्यूल 1 में कुछ भी नहीं है, बस नाम लिखे हैं. सारे स्टेट्स के नाम लिखे हैं, सारे यूनियन टेरिटरी के नाम लिखे हैं. आप तो घर में बैठे हो, अपना बेयर एक्ट निकालो और शेड्यूल 1 खोलो, दिख जाएगा आपको क्या लिखा है वहां पे. हाँ सूरज, पुल इट आउट. गाल पे हाथ रख के क्लास देख रहा है, हैं? पिक्चर चल रहा है इधर. नेम्स ऑफ स्टेट्स एंड यूटीज. हाँ गुड, नेम्स ऑफ स्टेट्स एंड यूटीज लिखा है. ये समझ आया? प्लीज.
आप बता दें कि आर्टिकल स्टैंड अलोन है.
हाँ
तो यहाँ आप बताएं कि आर्टिकल 2 ऑफ द एक्शन में होगा तो आर्टिकल 4 अप्लाई.
हाँ नहीं बेटा, वो आर्टिकल 4 में खुद लिखा है. ये रहा लिखा हुआ है, एनी A4 सेड लॉ. A4 सेड लॉ मतलब 4 क्लॉज 1 में जब जिसके बारे में बात कर रहे थे, किसके बारे में बात कर रहे थे 4 क्लॉज 1 में? आर्टिकल 2 एंड 3. ये रहा वही लिखा है, आर्टिकल 2 एंड 3. ठीक है? सो व्हेनेवर यू यूज आर्टिकल 2 एंड 3, इट इज नॉट टू बी अंडरस्टैंड एज एन अमेंडमेंट टू द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अंडर 368. 368 में कैसी मेजोरिटी चाहिए होती है? स्पेशल मेजोरिटी. इट इज नॉट टू बी अंडरस्टैंड एज स्पेशल मेजोरिटी. इफ इट इज नॉट स्पेशल मेजोरिटी, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ मेजोरिटी इट इज? सिंपल मेजोरिटी. सॉर्टेड? ठीक है? सो कैन वी कंबाइन आवर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ आर्टिकल 4? इट सिंपली सेज that whenever we will use article 2 and article 3, there will be automatic changes to schedule 1 and schedule 4, and this can be done by what kind of a majority? By simple majority. Understood? Now look at a catch that they asked you. Okay, very interesting one. See, what is schedule 4 telling us? The number of representatives of that particular state in Rajya Sabha. Suppose you make any arrangements using Article 2 or Article 3, then there is an automatic change to Schedule 4. And what kind of a majority is needed? Simple majority is needed. But let's suppose tomorrow we decide to change the representative of number of representatives to Rajya Sabha from the state of, let's suppose, UP. We'll make it some 60, ऐसे hypothetically. Suppose we have to change it. Then what kind of a majority is required? Simple or special? Think about it. Simple or special? And you have to explain it. Please. Very good. So remember, it depends on the direction. If you are making a change to Schedule 4 coming from this direction, which is using Article 2 and Article 3, then what kind of a majority is required? Simple. Because we have understood whenever 2 and 3 comes into action, protection of 4 applies. If you simply change the number of representatives in UP, are you using Article 2? External arrangement है? UP तो देश के अंदर है, बाहर तो नहीं है. Are you using Article 3? Are you doing any kind of internal adjustments to UP? No. So neither you are using 2 nor you are using 3. If you are not using 2 and 3, then will protection of 4 come into action? No, it will not come into action. What is protection of 4? Simple majority. So will simple majority come into action? No. If it is not simple majority, what majority it is? Special majority. So this is simply amendment of the constitution, and that can be done under Article 368. However, if you make any change to the same Schedule 4, you change the same UP ka seat, but using Article 2 and 3, then what kind of a majority is required? Simple majority is required. Is this clear to all of you? Kisko samajh mein nahi aaya? Is this clear to all of you? So it depends on the direction. If you come from that direction, simple majority. If you come from any other direction, it is special majority. Clear to all of you? 2 and 3, whenever you will use, protection of 4 will come. If you are not using 2 and 3, then protection of 4 will not come. What is protection of 4? Simple majority. That will not come into force. So what it will be? It will be special majority. Clear to all of you? Now, if you see the usage of Article 2 and 3 in the last 70 years, then sometime we see that we are using special majority, constitution is amended. Sometime we see simple majority, and sometime we have seen that territorial adjustment is done in this country without even using the parliament. It is done by the executive alone, which means there are different situations on which different kind of actions are required. It is little confusing to understand where we are using a special majority, where we are using a simple majority, and where simply the executive is doing it. And the major reason behind this is the evolution of usage of Article 2 and 3. If you look at the usage also, it has evolved with time. With time, we have got better and better understanding of usage of Article 2 and 3. Getting it? So please give a heading, evolution of usage of Article 2 and 3. Evolution of usage of Article 2 and 3. How we have got the better understanding of 2 and 3 with time. It has evolved. And we'll understand this topic under 2 case laws. We'll understand it under 2 case laws. Case laws, all of you understand? Supreme Court judgment, right? 2 case laws we will take. The first one is the case of Berubadi. The first one is the case of Berubadi. Now what is this Berubadi? This Berubadi was a small piece of land in the eastern part of India. To be exact, a small piece of land in the state of Bengal. Getting it? And before Bangladesh came into being, this part was also Pakistan and this part was also Pakistan, right? So this piece of land was an Indian piece of land by the name of Berubadi. And India and Pakistan, they both came into an understanding, an international agreement, that India will be transferring this land to Pakistan. It is an Indian piece of land. It is not a Pakistani piece of land. It is an Indian piece of land, but both India and Pakistan came to an understanding that Berubadi will be given to that of Pakistan. Understood? So once Berubadi is to be given to Pakistan, politically speaking, that is called as a ceding or cede. What do you mean by ceding or cede? To give away, to give, to supply, to surrender is what is ceding. So India was to cede Berubadi to that of Pakistan. Now ceding is a part of territorial arrangement. You are dealing with territories only. Which part of the constitution is responsible for territorial arrangement? Part 1 of the constitution, that is what we are reading today. Part 1. So the government referred to part 1 of the constitution, that how this piece of land can be ceded to that of Pakistan. And in part 1, it is majorly article 2 and 3, which is dealing with that of territorial arrangement, one with external, one with internal. Now the government did not find a term cede or anything similar to cede in meaning in those two articles, article 2 or 3. We have read article 2 and 3. Did we come across any term called as ceding anywhere? No. Not only article 2 and 3, in the entire part 1, article 1, 2, 3 as well as 4, there is nothing called as ceding or gifting or giving or supplying or surrendering, etc. anywhere in the constitution, in the part 1 of the constitution. As a result of which, the government got confused. Isn't it? The government has promised Pakistan that this piece of land will be given to you. However, in the constitution, there is nothing related to ceding. So the government got confused. Now you very well know, when the government get confused on the part of constitutional understanding, what the government does? The government refers the case to the Supreme Court of India. Hence, this case was also referred to Supreme Court, and hence comes the reference case of Berubadi Union 1960. Understood how it became a reference case? Now, the government referred the case to the Supreme Court and asked basic question that, sir, we are trying to cede this territory to that of Pakistan under an international agreement. However, we don't find anything related to ceding or cede in the constitution's first part. Sir, please tell us, can we do it? Since we cannot see it, can we do it? Sir, if we can do it, who will do it? Whether parliament will do it, whether executive will do it, or any other body would do it, who will do it? And third, sir, whomsoever will be doing it, how it will be done? What is the process? How we can see it? Because we are unable to see anything in the constitution. Now, the Supreme Court accepted the case, and then the Supreme Court started hearing the case. Now, Supreme Court told to the government that, see, you are trying to cede a territory to that of Pakistan. Now, ceding is a territorial arrangement, and for territorial arrangement, part 1 of the constitution is responsible. However, ceding is neither mentioned in article 2 nor in article 3, which are the two major articles, provisions for territorial arrangement. Not only article 2 and 3, court said it is not even present in article 1 or even article 4. So the court said it is nowhere present in part 1 of the constitution. The court said it is not about ceding. Even the opposite activity of ceding. Ceding means give away. Then what is the opposite activity? To take, so acquire. So the court said not only ceding, even the opposite activity, which is acquire, even acquiring details are not also given in the constitution in part 1. Now tell me something. Have we read the word acquired anywhere? Yes, we have read it. Where? In article 1, clause 3. Remember, territory of India is territories of all the states plus territories of all the UTs plus any territory that might be acquired. But then in the constitution, only the term acquire is given. Is any detail given, like who can acquire, how it can be acquired? Nothing is given. Just a term acquire is written. And that's what the court is saying. That neither ceding nor acquiring are dealt anywhere in part 1 of the constitution. Getting it? The court made it clear that, see, it is not just part 1 of the constitution. Rather, these two terms are nowhere given in the entire constitution itself. Not just part 1, it is rather nowhere given in the entire constitution itself. If that is the case, then the government asked Supreme Court, sir, if it is not given in the constitution, can we still do it? The court said, yes, we can still do it. Though it is not given in the constitution, acquire and ceding are done under international law. And this is something that I have already taught you. Remember preamble, the very first term, sovereign. Remember I taught you 2 definitions of sovereign. One is neither a dependency nor a dominion. What was the second one? Any territory which has the authority to acquire or cede a territory is a sovereign country. Tell me something. Is India a sovereign country or not? Absolutely yes. As a result of which the court said, according to international law, a sovereign country can acquire or cede a piece of territory, so you can still do it under international law, which is by using your sovereign power. Using your sovereign power. Now the second question is, sir, who will do it? Fine, we can do it, but who will do it? Whether the legislature, executive, judiciary or any other body, who will do it? Now tell me something. How are we doing it? Using our sovereign power. Tell me something. Who is sovereign in India? We the people of India. You wrote down utility of preamble. Remember, it declares the sovereign power of India. And who is sovereign in India? It is we the people. Then tell me something. Which institution represents we the people of India? It is the legislature, the parliament. So who will do it? The parliament would do it. Now if it is parliament, it is law. Now if it is law, then there are 2 kinds of majority, simple majority and special majority. Now the question is, how do we do it? By simple majority or by special majority? Now tell me your understanding. Are we using Article 2? Are we using Article 2? No. Are we using Article 3? No, it is nowhere given in the constitution about ceding or acquiring in Article 2 or 3. So if you are not using Article 2 and 3, will protection of 4 come in? No. If protection of 4 will not come in, then what kind of a majority do you need? Special majority, which is nothing but Article 368. So what was the ruling of Berubadi Union case? That we can acquire or cede a territory using our sovereign power under international law, where the parliament will pass a constitutional amendment act to acquire or cede a territory. So this Berubadi that you see, which was an Indian piece of land, was given to Pakistan by passing a constitutional amendment act, which is by special majority. Understood? Is this clear to all of you? सबको समझ में आया? So it is not under part 1, rather it is under international law, under sovereign power. We can acquire or cede a territory. And what kind of a majority is needed? Special majority is needed. All of you understood Berubadi? सबको समझ में आया? Do you think, अगर समझ में आया, do you think in any ways the court took a narrow view? Do you think Supreme Court took a narrow view and simply said that cede and acquire are not given in the constitution? Or do you think the Supreme Court would have looked into more of articles in part 1? Is there anything which is related to acquire, any part in part 1? Anything similar to it at least? Admit, Article 2, admit or establish, isn't it? Now if you look at that admit and establish, if you look at this admit and establish, don't you think the court should have thought about admit once while it was talking about acquiring? Let's try to understand this part, how it becomes useless. Now think about admitting this land XYZ. Suppose you want to admit this land XYZ to India to make it the 29th state, or you want to establish ABC and then later you will admit it only. After establishing, what you will do? You'll admit it, you'll make it a part of India. So ultimately you have to admit. So tell me something, by your common sense, do you really or you can really admit a territory without acquiring a territory? Think about it. And if your mind is painting a picture that acquiring means fighting a battle, let me tell you, that is just one of the ways we can acquire. We can acquire a piece of land by peaceful agreement also, by mild police force also, by signing an instrument of accession also, by inviting a country to be a part of India also, or the country might coming or a state might coming to us and saying, we want to become a part of India also. If you look at all of these things, tell me something, can you admit a territory without acquiring a territory ever? It is not possible. Technically, you have to acquire it first. First, you have to say that this piece of land is an Indian piece of land. So you acquired it. Then comes the second step that I am going to make it the 29th state of India. Getting it? So technically speaking, admitting is always step number 2. What is step number 1 always? Step number 1 is always acquiring. Understood? You cannot admit a territory unless and until you have acquired the territory. Now tell me something. For acquiring, what kind of a majority is needed? Special majority. That is application of Article 368. Special majority is needed. Isn't it? We have just read Birubadi Union. Tell me something. For admitting, what kind of a majority is needed? Simple majority. Protection of 4 will apply, which is simple majority. So if I have to admit this XYZ land to India, first thing is that I have to acquire XYZ. And second thing is I have to admit XYZ, which means I have to pass 2 bills. One, the first time the bill will be passed with special majority. Once that is passed, then again I have to pass the same bill with what kind of a majority? Simple majority. Tell me something with your common sense. If you can pass a bill with special majority, do you really need to pass the same bill with simple majority? Or is simple majority within special majority itself? Isn't it? If you can run 100 kilometers, do I ask you, can you run 10 kilometers? Then you will say, sir, 100 दौड़ सकता हूं तो 10 तो उसी के अंदर है. That's why Article 2 has been useless. Every time we have to admit something that is done under acquiring itself. There is no point of passing the same bill twice. So whenever you have to admit something, what do? You acquire it first. And within acquiring only, you admit it as the 29th state of India. Practically speaking, that's why there is no usage of Article 2 till date. Rather, you do it under Article 368 itself. Is this clear to all of you? Now, all the examples which are there in your mind, for example, Sikkim, Goa, Pondicherry, all will fall into the same category. You will acquire it first and then admit it to India. Is this clear to all of you? So Article 2 is always done under acquiring as a provision. Is this clear to all of you? समझ में आया? आया नहीं आया? आया? ठीक है. चलो. Then let's go to the second case. Now this time let's go to the western coast of India. Rather than the eastern part that we have seen with Berubadi, let's go to the second case, which is the western coast, and write Magan Bhai, 1969. Magan Bhai. This much is enough. You don't need to remember the full case. Magan Bhai, Purushottam Bhai, lamba chalega. So Magan Bhai is enough. Magan Bhai, Gujarat. See, before we go into Magan Bhai, let me tell you a little about the boundary arrangement between India and its neighbor. See, if you look at the boundary between India and its neighbor, basically China, Pakistan, or today Bangladesh, which was earlier Pakistan, these boundaries are the major problem for all the issues that we see today. Isn't it? Especially with that of China. Even with Pakistan and Bangladesh also, we have the same problem. Only that China is more powerful, so more assertive. But equally, we have problem with Bangladesh as well as Pakistan. And the root cause of the problem is not having a rationally drawn boundary. That's because when these boundaries were drawn by Redcliffe, Boundary Commission, Redcliffe, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, those years, If you look at how these boundaries were drawn, then do understand that Redcliffe never went to the proper landmark location and said that यहाँ पे तार खींचो वो चाइना ये इंडिया, या फिर यहाँ पे बाउंड्री लगाओ वो पाकिस्तान ये इंडिया. He never did it. Rather, he has drawn the boundary on the maps that he was having in his office. Now the maps that you use today are much more advanced maps. What he was using way back in 1946-47 period, those maps were not that very clear. But then the practical compulsion was to draw boundaries on the map alone. He cannot go to such a lengthy boundary and then draw the boundaries between the countries. So whatever rationality he could apply, he applied it. And what he did, he decided that the boundaries between these countries will be based on natural frontiers. The boundaries between these countries will be natural frontier. So sitting over here in his office, he would say that, see, this line will be the boundary between India and China. And what is this line? Natural frontier. What is that natural frontier? The Himalayan ranges would differentiate or divide China from that of India. Getting it? For example, the boundary between India and Pakistan is again demarcated by natural frontiers, sometime with rivers, sometime with deserts, sometime with creeks, sometime with some other thing. Similarly, the boundary between India and Bangladesh will also be divided with such idea, sometime river, sometime forest, things like that, sometimes some smaller mountain ranges. Getting it? Now it is completely fine when it is on the map. The problem occurs when you go to the real location. For example, the boundary between India and China is the Himalayan ranges. Now on the map it looks beautiful because there is a straight line dividing China and India. But if you go to the real location, then that is like this. It's mountain ranges, and this width by itself is few kilometers. China on this side, India on this side. Now China says, this is my boundary. India says, that is my boundary. Getting the point? What is the real problem you understand today? The problem lies way back in 1950s. So China would say, this is my boundary. Arunachal mein kya ho raha hai? Getting the point? And India would say, that is my boundary. These are the problems with natural frontiers. Now you see the boundary between Pakistan and India. At many places it is river. Now Redcliffe was there. He said, okay, river R is flowing. That side will be Pakistan, this side will be India. Now it looks great on the map. But rivers are notorious for changing their course of flow. When Redcliffe was there, this river was going like this. After 40 years, this river goes like this. Now tell me, where is India, where is Pakistan? Getting the point? Somewhere you would say that this forest range is the boundary between India and Bangladesh. आपने यहाँ से भी पेड़ काट दिए, यहाँ से भी पेड़ काट दिए. किधर है boundary? Try to understand. Today, whatever problem we are facing, not having a rational boundary division is the root cause of it. Getting it? As mature countries, we should first settle down our boundary issues. Getting it? And in this direction, very, very maturely, India and Pakistan took a step in the year 1960s. In the decade of 1960s, India and Pakistan very actively took a important step. And what they did is that because India and Pakistan shares a long border, and at many part of the border, there are natural frontiers, both India and Pakistan, they created one international tribunal. Tribunal, an executive body having quasi-judicial powers. You will read in detail tribunals in some chapters. So they created an international tribunal, which means there will be participation of both India as well as Pakistan. And what is the job of this tribunal? To go to those particular locations where we are having the problem in the boundary because of natural frontiers and settle those disputes. What was the role? What was the work of tribunal? To settle the dispute. Now this is a mature step taken by India and Pakistan in 1960s. Getting it? So this tribunal went to the state of Gujarat. Now Gujarat shares a long boundary with that of Pakistan, right? And at many places, the boundary between India, that is Gujarat state, and that of Pakistan is demarcated by creeks. Creeks. What are creeks? Creeks are swampy lands. So most part of the year there will be some water to a certain level over there in creeks. But the problem with creeks is that in the summer season, what will happen is those water will be evaporated, right, because of heat. And then in the rainy season, again, when the rain comes, they will be repopulated. But the problem is, the bigger problem is, there is no guarantee that the location of the creek remains the same. Maybe last year the creek was there, water evaporated, then new water came in with rain. Now the problem is there is no guarantee that the creek will be there only. This year the creek was formed there. Getting the point? Now this creek was the boundary between India and Pakistan, which was here in that boundary last year. But this year it has been formed there. Now think about the problem of a person whose house lies in between. Getting the point? So the tribunal was made to settle these kind of problems, to go from location to location and then settle down those problems. When it was trying to settle down the problem, it reached to an area where the boundary between India and Pakistan was like this. On this side was Pakistan, on this side was India. Demarcated by a creek. This is a creek which demarcates the boundary between Pakistan and India. But now, because of the new formation of the creek, the new boundary looks like this. And Pakistan is asking for this to be declared as the new boundary. So Pakistan will become this. So this side will be India. So India, having its land from here, will be repelled to this part. Getting it? Now the tribunal is to go to this site also and settle it. Now in this site, when the tribunal reached there, the tribunal gave an award. Like court gives judgment, tribunal gives award. Okay? This award given by the tribunal was in favor of Pakistan. Which means, what is the new boundary? This is the new boundary. Getting the point? See, don't worry, we are not giving land to Pakistan. This is one of the case. There were many places in which the award was in favor of India also. That is the work of the tribunal to settle it. कहीं पे उनको ज़्यादा दे देंगे, कहीं पे हमको ज़्यादा मिलेगा. That is the work of the tribunal. Getting it? So in this case, it was in favor of Pakistan. And here was Magan Bhai. Understood? An emotional person. So Magan Bhai directly went to Supreme Court of India. And to Supreme Court of India, he said that, sir, just 9 years back, you gave a judgment, Berubadi Union. This is 1969. If you go 9 years back, it is 1960. So, sir, just 9 years back, you gave a judgment, Berubadi, where you said that acquire and ceding can only take place by utilization of Article 368, which is a constitutional amendment act has to be passed. Now, sir, you see here, this piece of land was an Indian piece of land earlier. Isn't it? India was here. So this was an Indian piece of land earlier. But sir, this tribunal, an executive body, has given an award by which this piece of land now goes to Pakistan because now the new border is here. Sir, this is a ceding of territory by India. Isn't it? It looks like ceding, giving away this piece of land to Pakistan. Sir, if it is ceding of land, that can only be done by using Article 368. Sir, how can just an executive body decide the boundary? It has to be decided by Article 368. Sir, please declare the award as unconstitutional and invalid. Petition समझ में आया सबको? Petition किसको समझ में नहीं आया? Petition समझ में आया सबको? What Magan Bhai is appealing? हाँ? Supreme Court replied to Magan Bhai. It said, Magan Bhai, shant, chill. Polity is a good subject, provided you understand it well. See, let me explain you. Revision helps you more in polity. So Supreme Court said, see, in the Berubadi Union case, what we said is, if a piece of land of a particular country, this Berubadi Union was a piece of land of which country? India. Did Pakistan ever said that is my land? No, never. Rather, under an international agreement, we Indians, we decided along with Pakistan to give away this piece of land. This giving away piece of land is what is called as ceding. What you can cede? Your territory or somebody else's territory. अरे खुद का घर बेचोगे कि पड़ोसी वाले का बेच दोगे? खुद ही का बेचोगे. That's what the court said. This piece of land belonged to India, and India decided to give it away to another country, which is called as ceding, and that is done under sovereign power under international laws, for which Article 368 is required. This is only Berubadi Union case, isn't it? This is only Berubadi Union case. Court said, Magan bhai, but your case is not this. Your case is different. Try to understand that the boundary between India and Pakistan was like this. This side was Pakistan, this side was India. So this is a boundary that was claimed because of a natural frontier. Now the frontier has changed. Now the frontier has changed, and hence Pakistan, according to the natural frontier, is asking the boundary here, and so India comes here. Now this case that you are saying that this is Indian piece of land, for a Pakistani sitting over here, this is Pakistani piece of land, isn't it? If natural frontier is the border, earlier it was here, but now it is here. So you being Indian, for you, this piece of land is Indian piece of land. But for a Pakistani, because it is natural frontier, this piece of land is Pakistani land. To an international tribunal, which is seeing it independently of the emotions of both of the country, this piece of land is neither Indian land nor Pakistani land, but rather it is disputed land, isn't it? Disputed land. Unlike Berubadi, which was Indian land, this land is not Indian land. You feel it because you are Indian. A Pakistani feels it Pakistani land because he is Pakistani. Simple point. So for an international tribunal, this is a disputed land. Disputed land creates dispute in boundaries, and settling boundary dispute is the work of the government. Why? Because settling dispute gives good governance, and we already know who is responsible for good governance. It is center. Center means executive. So it is up to the executive what they want to do with this particular disputed piece of land. As such, the award given by the tribunal is completely constitutional and valid. Understood? So unlike Berubadi, this is not Indian land. It is disputed land. Getting it? As such, if we summarize completely what has happened in part 1 of the Constitution, then write down there are 3 situations to which there are 3 actions. There are 3 situations to which there are 3 actions. The first one is acquire and ceding. Right? First one is acquire, and in acquire only happens admit, that we have already learned, right? So acquire and ceding. And how can we do acquire and ceding? By special majority. The second type of arrangement, territorial arrangement, is that of internal arrangements. Remember Article 3, internal arrangements. And how it can be done? By simple majority. Remember Article 2 and 3 comes into action. Production of 4 applies. And third, we have just understood, is boundary disputes. Boundary disputes. And how boundary disputes can be solved? By executive actions. By executive action. Getting it? So suppose there is an island between India and Sri Lanka. Getting the point? And then it is a disputed piece of land. India says it is mine, Sri Lanka says this is mine. Then what kind of action is needed? So executive can give it away to Sri Lanka. It is up to the executive. Getting the point? Huh? Tomorrow if you have to acquire Pakistan to make Akhand Bharat, point number 1 will apply. POK में नहीं लगेगा. POK हमारा घर है. कोई और उसमें बैठ गया, जा नहीं रहा है. ठीक है, उसको भगाना है वहां से. पाकिस्तान हमारा नहीं है, ठीक है, उसको लेना पड़ेगा. Getting the point? Whereas internal arrangement is applying Article 3. See, you should practically understand the things. Don't talk like a layman, talk like a technical person who understands how territorial arrangements are done. Is this clear to all of you? Now all the territories that you see in news will fall into one of the three. And this is the summary of that of part 1 of the Constitution. Write one very important heading, India-Bangladesh Land Boundary Agreement 2015. India-Bangladesh Land Boundary Agreement 2015. Okay. So India and Bangladesh, they share a long border, a very long one. So if you look at India and Bangladesh, now it is Bangladesh, before it was East Pakistan, and before that, undivided India. It was India only, right? Huh? So if you see this border between India and Bangladesh, this is having some problem, or this was having some problem. The problems of what is called as enclaves. The problem of enclaves. Now what is enclave? If this is a country and within this country, let's suppose there is a small piece of land which belongs to another country, then this small piece of land would be called as enclave. Getting it? So suppose here is India and Bangladesh, here in the Indian side there is a small piece of land which belongs to Bangladesh, or here in Bangladesh, let's suppose there is a small piece of land which belongs to India, then this is an Indian enclave and this is a Bangladeshi enclave. Clear to all of you? Now generally countries sharing border will always have enclaves. Getting it? There will always be some enclaves here and there. But the problem with India and Bangladesh was a little more complex. Complex because it was a unique example of having third order enclave. Third order enclaves. Now what are third order enclaves? Suppose this is India and inside India there is a small piece of land which belongs to Bangladesh. Then this is first order enclave. Getting it? This is first order. But if this Indian territory that you see, that falls under Bangladesh, then that is called as second order enclave. And if this Bangladeshi territory that you see, that falls under India, then it is called as third order enclave. Getting it? Think about the life of a Bangladeshi living here. ये किधर जाएगा बेचारा? Can you imagine it? Very difficult to imagine. For your understanding, I am drawing countries into circle. No country is like circle. You get it? But more than imagining what it would look like, the question that should hit you is that how come we even reach to this position? If at all there is a boundary, it should be like this. India should be here, Bangladesh shall be here. How are we having this situation? Getting it? To understand that, you need to go back to the history of this area. This boundary area that you see today, that is there between India and Bangladesh, before Pakistan, and much before it, undivided India. So when it was undivided India, this area that you see, which becomes the boundary between India and Bangladesh today, it was heavily populated by some local kings. Local kings means not some big kings. Some local king, only for ego they are calling themselves king. Otherwise there is nothing kingly in them. So something like having a territory of that of old Rajendra Nagar, and they will be calling, I am the king of old Rajendra Nagar. So there will be another one in Patel Nagar who will say, I am the king of Patel Nagar. And then there will be another one in Shadipur saying, I am the king of Shadipur. Getting the point? These were local kings. Majorly the properties that they were having was the inherited property from their ancestors, and at best something was working out in agriculture in those small territories that you see. Other than that, these kings had nothing to be called as kings, but they used to call themselves king. Now these kings were utter useless people. They never worked, They never did anything throughout their life. They'll only enjoy the leisure of their life. Getting it? And these kings were great fans of a game called as chess. Getting it? Now chess needs how many players? 2. Suppose I am one of the useless kings. Example, huh? Suppose I am the useless king of old Rajinder Nagar. कहाँ जाएंगे? यहीं रहना है. Useless king of old Rajinder Nagar. I have no work to do throughout the day. What maximum I'll play chess. Now I need another player to play chess with me. Will I play chess with you? My subjects? No, not at all. इज्जत चला जाएगा. I will play it with the king, right? So, let's suppose I am here, old Rajinder Nagar. I have to play chess. So I'll invite Paswala king, let's suppose Patel Nagar king. But this king is also useless king, na? Will he come to me? अरे उस समय तो मेट्रो भी नहीं था, आएगा क्या ये? नहीं आएगा. तो I have to incentivize him. And how do I incentivize him? By giving some prize money. And what do I have? Land. So I say, Patel Nagar king, come and beat me. If you beat me in chess, I'll give you this territory. Upon this incentive, this Patel Nagar king will come to play chess with me. Let's suppose, unfortunately, he defeats me. If he defeats me, then this piece of land now belongs to Patel Nagar king. Now Raja तो वापस चला जाएगा, जमीन यहीं छोड़ जाएगा. Now this piece of land belongs to whom? To Patel Nagar king. But then once he goes back, he is equally useless ना. कुछ तो करेगा वो, क्या करेगा? चेस खेलेगा. अब मेरे साथ तो नहीं खेलेगा, मेरे को हरा चुका है. अरे लेवल ऊपर जाएगा ना लाइफ में, तो किसी और के साथ खेलेगा. तो मे बी शादीपुर के किंग को डिसाइड करेगा, मतलब इनवाइट करेगा, राइट? अब ये भी तो यूजलेस आदमी है, ये थोड़ी आएगा ऐसे ही. तो उसको इंसेंटिवाइज करना पड़ेगा, प्राइज मनी रखना पड़ेगा. एंड व्हाट विल बी द प्राइज मनी? लैंड. टेल मी विद योर लॉजिक, will this king give a piece of land over here, or he will play on this piece of land? This piece of land. Rather he will divide it into 2 or 3 parts. 2-3 बार खेलेगा ना, बोर हो रहा है. Suppose the Shadipur king come to Patel Nagar and beats him. So now this piece of land belongs to Shadipur. And then he will go back and also play a part of it, where he will divide this into 2 parts and 1 part will go away. Getting it? And like this, the kings in this area, they played chess for decades and decades and decades, giving us what we see today as the third order enclaves, like this. Understood? This is how third order enclave come. Now, very easily speaking, if you see enclaves, here is India and here is Bangladesh. Here are some pieces of land that belong to Bangladesh, and here are certain pieces of land that belongs to India. What is the ideal solution to this problem? Exchange. तो जमीन से उखाड़ के उधर. What is the solution? अरे exchange मतलब क्या exchange? Exchange the enclave क्या है? वो आदमी थोड़ी है भेज देंगे उधर. जमीन है बेटा, जमीन कहाँ भेज देंगे? Yes, what can be done? Tell me. अरे हाथ उठाया, बोल. हाँ, वेरी गुड. यहां पे जो जगह है उसको सीड कर देते हैं, और यहां पे जो जगह है उसको एक्वायर कर लेते हैं, राइट? विच मीन्स द सोल्यूशन लाइज इन एक्वायरिंग एंड सीडिंग. एंड व्हाट वी हैव टू डू फॉर एक्वायर एंड सीडिंग? व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अ मेजोरिटी? Special majority, Article 368. So, the 100th Constitutional Amendment Act was passed in order to acquire and cede the territories. Understood? Now understand one point. Because acquiring and ceding are taking place at the same time. It's taking place at the same time. We are acquiring some piece of land and we are also giving away some piece of land. It looks like we are exchanging land, and that's why comes the term exchange of enclaves. Understood? And that's why it is called as exchange of enclaves. So we acquire and cede simultaneously. That is the 100th Constitutional Amendment of India. India-Bangladesh Land Boundary Agreement. Clear to all of you? Is this clear to all of you? Huh? Okay. With that, we are done with the technical part of part 1. Please write the heading, Reorganization of States in India. Reorganization of states in India. Let's quickly look at it. It's a part that you will study in detail politically and historically in post-independence story. But we'll look at the polity angle because we have spoken about territorial adjustments in India, right? So let's look at state reorganization in India. Tell me something. The moment India got independence, 1947, how many territories were there in India? 1947, when we got independence, how many territories were there in India? अरे तुम्हारे देश का पूछ रहा हूं. 532, 14, 562. How many were there? How many territories? Very good. Close to 600. 562 तो प्रिंसली स्टेट थे, अभी बताया था थोड़े टाइम पहले. फिर ब्रिटिश प्रोविंसेस भी तो थे, फिर चीफ कमिश्नर प्रोविंसेस भी तो थे, and other territories were there. So approximately there were around 600 territories when India got independence in 1947, and with that start the story of integration of India and how the Iron Man, Sardar Patel, integrated India. Getting it? Now tell me something. At 1950, when the constitution came into force, right? 26 January 1950, constitution came into force. How many territories were there in India? So there was a four-fold division. In 1950, there was a four-fold classification or division of states. States were divided into 4 types: Part A state, Part B states, Part C states, and Part D states. See, all of them are states. Am I even using the term union territories? There was nothing called as union territories in 1950. Everything was a state alone. If you look at Part A states, these were the bigger British provinces. These were the bigger British provinces. How many were there? 9 bigger British provinces were there. If you look at Part B, these were the larger princely states like Hyderabad, larger princely states. How many were there? 9 were there. If you look at Part C states, these are the chief commissioner provinces and other territories or smaller territories. And there were 10 such Part C states. And if you look at Part D, there was a single island, which is Andaman and Nicobar. If you add all of these things, you will reach to 29. You will reach to 29. Now, this is with coming of force of constitution. So definitely they will be written in some part of the constitution, right? So this was written in Part 6 of the constitution. Part B was in Part 7 of the constitution. Part C was in Part 8 of the constitution. And Part D was in Part 9 of the constitution. Understood? But once these 29 states came into being, people of India were not very happy with this kind of a state reorganization. That is because people wanted the state reorganization in India based on linguistic criterias. And why language is a criteria? That's because Indian National Congress, the major political party, that Indian National Congress itself was based on linguistic architecture. When you will read modern India, you will realize that the sessions of Congress which are happening every year in December, they are based on linguistic criteria alone. So Congress as an architecture, as a political party, framed the architecture based on language, and it believed that language is a very good tool to differentiate states. As a result of which, Congress on many occasions whether it is the leaders of Congress or committees and commissions of Congress, before independence, on many occasions, it always advocated the idea of linguistic states. It always advocated and supported the idea that whenever India will be independent, we will organize the states in India based on linguistic criteria. Now, this is 1950. India is independent. Constitution has been formed. Who formed the constitution? Majorly congressmen. And then Congress is in power only. Who is deciding authority in India at that point of time? Congress only. But then you see the states are not made on linguistic criteria, but they are made on some other criteria. Can you tell me what is the criteria? Administrative convenience of center. The moment linguistic criteria were not used for reorganization of states, people in India throughout its length and breadth started agitating against the Congress, saying that you only told us that whenever India will be independent, there will be linguistic states. Now India is independent, you are the governing authority, but we do not see linguistic state. And they started striking against that of Congress. In this scenario happens an incident in the year 1952. In 1952, a congressman by the name P. Sriramullu, he sits on for fast onto death. And what is his demand? His demand is creation of Andhra Pradesh, which is a linguistic part of the state, by carving out the major Telugu speaking people from that of the Madras province. So what he is asking? He is asking linguistic state. And unfortunately, this congressman dies on the 56th day of his fast. समझ आया? It is not the first time that he is sitting for this fast on to death. वो इससे पहले भी बैठे थे. लेकिन this is a true Gandhian. Fast on to death is a Gandhian method. तो इससे पहले गांधी जी जिंदा थे, तो उनको समझा बुझा के ले गए. लेकिन अब 1952 है, गांधी जी है नहीं. Getting it? You should understand where and how you are missing Gandhi. So there is no Gandhi to make him understand. अब ये किसी और से सुनने वाला है नहीं. So he said, and he died. This sacrifice of this congressman led to the creation of the first linguistic state in India. See the situation? A congressman is dying for a promise that Congress only gave. And Congress is in power. So created a political havoc in the country, as a result of which the government had to respond. And the government responded in the year 1953 by creating Andhra Pradesh, the first linguistic state in India. But the creation of Andhra Pradesh, it opened the Pandora box in India. If Andhra Pradesh can be created for Telugu speaking people, can't we create Karnataka for Kannada speaking people? If that can be done, can't we create Gujarat for Gujaratis? Can't we create Maharashtra for Marathis? And so on and so forth. Throughout India, everyone started making this demand that since you have created Andhra Pradesh, you create our state also based on our language. Or are you waiting for one of our leaders to die? Getting the point? Now, if we look at this situation where the demands that people are making are legitimate demands, because it is Congress only who fueled the fire, saying that linguistic states will be created in India, and now one state has been created. So if one can be created, other can be created. But then, if the government accepts the demand of the people that linguistic states will be created in India, don't you think we will be doing more harm than good? So Sardar Patel, from 600, he brought it down to 29. If the government accepts the demand, then from 29, it will take back to 600. Isn't it? India is a highly diversified society, right? So it will go back there. So it will be practically like failing the constitution itself, isn't it? Now remember, in your life, whenever you are in such a situation, where if you take an action, that action is going to create more problems than the solution itself, then the Britishers taught us a technique. And that technique is the technique of commissions. you always create a commission. And there is a great motive behind commission. The moment you create a commission, everyone feels that they are being heard. हमें सुनेगा कोई. And the moment people feel that they are being heard, the energy level which was here for agitation, it will come down here. The moment the energy level comes down here, there is a law-based society. And that peaceful society will give you ample space and time to take a good decision. That is what is the intention behind creation of commission. So here also we are at such a juncture. If we take the demands and take action, we are creating more problems than the solution. So what the government of India did? It created commission. Now it was not the first time that we are creating commissions. We created so many commissions like JVP, Dhar, etc. But this one commission is important for you. And that commission was the Fazal Ali Commission or Justice Fazal Ali Commission. Fazal Ali Commission, or what is also called as State Reorganization Commission, 1956. State Reorganization Commission, 1956. This commission went through the detail of demand throughout the country, and then after analyzing everything, it gave two recommendations. Number one, it accepted the demand of linguistic states. So what the commission said, that yes, we agree to the demand that linguistic states can be created. So we will create the states based on languages. Second, the most important one, it rejected the idea of one language, one state. Practically speaking, it is point number 2, which is saving the constitution. It is point number 2. Getting it? So what they said that, see, we will create Karnataka based on the idea that Kannada is a language. That is point number 1. But point number 2, they said, but that doesn't mean that inside Karnataka only Kannada speaking people will stay. Rather, any language speaking people can stay inside Karnataka. That is what is practically saving the constitution. And based on these recommendations, the states in India were reorganized. And in 1956, the reorganization that comes in, that is a two-fold classification of states. Two-fold classification. Before this 1956, what was there? A four-fold classification. Usko uthao bhai, 10 baj gaye. Go wash your face and come back. You'll make another 5 sleep with you. Go. Chalo. So, two-fold classification. इससे पहले क्या था? Four-fold classification. So if you look at four-fold classification, this was it. So what they did? They merged part A and part B. And they started calling part A and B, merged one, as states. Getting it? Now tell me something. If both the parts are merged, do you logically need 2 parts now or 1 part is enough? 1 part is enough. So see, today in the constitution, states are mentioned in part 6 of the constitution. Getting it? Similarly, they merged part C and part D and started calling these as union territories. For the first time you see a term union territory in the year 1956. Getting it? Now if there are merger of the parts, do you really need 2? No, rather you need 1. So today you see union territories in part 8 of the constitution. Understood? So what happened? Two-fold classification came in. So on the one side there were states, and how many states were there in part 6? 14 states were there. On the other hand, there were UTs in part 8 of the constitution, and there were 6 UTs in 1956. What is the total number of territories then? 14 plus 6, 20. 20 territories were there, right? This is 1956. But after this, we see that more and more states have been created in India. In 1960, the state of Bombay will be bifurcated into that of Maharashtra and that of Gujarat, and then so on and so forth till today it is happening in India, right? So if you look at it in a graph, how does it look like? So from 600 here in 1947, it dropped to that of 29 in 1950. This is the contribution of Sardar Patel. Getting the point? And from 29, it dropped to 20 in 1956. That is the first State Reorganization Commission, right? But after this, we see that the number is only rising. So today, which is 36, we have got in 2024. 28 plus 8, 36 territories are there. But today also, when I go to any of the bigger states, there is a demand for a smaller state. You go to Maharashtra, there is a demand of Vidarbha region to be declared as a state. You go to Gujarat, there is a demand of Saurashtra region to be declared as a state. You go to West Bengal, Gorkhaland is a major demand. You go to Odisha, Kosal Rajya is a big demand. You come to UP, they say UP is too big to administer. Let's divide it into 4 parts, which means that going ahead, this number is only going to rise. If that is the case, do you think ever it will become 600 again? Huh? Do you think so? Write a question then. Do you think it is high time for India? Do you think it is high time for India to constitute a second State Reorganization Commission? To constitute a second State Reorganization Commission. Go home today, Google it out. You will see hundreds of articles on this. This is a very old topic that India needs a second State Reorganization Commission. Just open a few selectively, some 3-4 and read them. You will realize that you already know what is written inside it. Because there will be stress on just one factor. And what is that factor? Administrative convenience of center. Understood? So it is up to the center. If it feels administratively convenient, it should create state. Clear to all of you? Change the page and give the heading Part 2, Citizenship. Part 2, Citizenship. Now this particular provision of the Constitution has got 7 articles, starting from Article 5 to Article 11. Part 2 of the Constitution talks about citizenship, right? Now, what is citizenship? See, first understand, I'll dictate this part. See, citizenship is nothing but membership of a community. In this case, we are talking about a socio-political community called a state, Indian state. So the members of that Indian state would be called as citizens of India, which means it is nothing but a claim of the people. If it is a claim, then what is citizenship? Nothing but a right. So remember, citizenship rights is the exact term. It is not citizenship. It is always citizenship rights because it is a right. Getting it? And this citizenship right is the membership of a community called state. Now, take an example. All of you are also members of Vajram, right? Because you took admission into a course, so you are a legitimate member of this community, this institution called as Vajram. And because you are members of this community called Vajram, you are provided with certain privileges. Privileges like coming to the class and not sleeping but studying. Not one, there are many who are sleeping. आके आराम से लास्ट में बैठना है और सो जाना है. टीचर को कहाँ दिखता है? देखो टीचर को दिखता सब है. तुम लोग जो कुछ कर रहे हो सब यहाँ से दिखता है. The only point is the teacher takes a decision to devote the time for those who may go ahead in their life and not waste the time for those who are not interested. Getting the time? सो नेवर एवर थिंक कि टीचर को कुछ नहीं दिखता है, सब दिखता है. तुम लोग जो जो कर रहे हो सब पता है हमको. गेटिंग इट? इट इज जस्ट दैट वी हैव टेकन अ कॉन्शियस डिसीजन कि नहीं डिस्टर्ब करते हैं. डूब रहा है डूबने देते हैं आराम से. जो पढ़ेगा उसको पढ़ा देंगे, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. एंड टेक माई वर्ड्स, आई एम नॉट टेलिंग यू, आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग एवरीवन, सो इट्स फाइन. इट्स नॉट दैट यू स्लेप्ट. वो भी पीछे सो रहा था टोपी पहन के, सो इट्स फाइन. तो बेटा घुस जाएगा थोड़े टाइम में अंदर, फिर दूसरे लाइन में निकलेगा. डोंट डू इट. ठीक, सुबह उठना मुश्किल है मुझे पता है, ठीक है, बट डू गिव योर टाइम. यू विल रियलाइज it is worth the time and efforts you are giving. So you are getting some privileges like coming to the class, getting student portal, getting your resources, yellow book, then recital, then पता नहीं और क्या क्या मिलता है, जो भी लाइन में मिलता है, all the, हाँ सब कुछ मिलता है, ठीक है, खाना पीना नहीं मिल रहा है बस, right? Can anyone roaming on the road get the privileges? No, not really. They have to become a part of this institution first. Similarly, because you are part of the institution, I can always give you homework. Write down, do you think it is high time? Can I do so with someone roaming on the road? अगर बोलूंगा तो अकेला हुआ तो भगा देगा, 4-5 हुए तो दे के भेजेंगे. But you people can't do anything. I will kick you out if you don't write the answer. Which means there are certain duties also given to you. This is exactly the concept of citizenship. Only in place of Vajiram, replace India. In place of students, replace citizens. Getting the point? Then quickly write down citizenship. Citizenship is the membership of that socio-political community, called state, which provides for certain rights, and certain duties. Full stop. It defines the relationship between the state. It defines the relationship between the state and its people. It defines the relationship between state and its people. Change the paragraph and write Part 2 of the Constitution. Part 2 of the Constitution talks about citizenship rights in India. Part 2 of the Constitution talks about citizenship rights in India. Full stop. Article 5 to Article 10. Article 5 to Article 10 states the citizenship rights of all those who were present in India, on 26th January 1950. On 26th Jan 1950. समझ में आया? Article 5 to 10 किसके बारे में बात करता है? The citizenship rights of all those people who were present in India on 26th of Jan 1950. Basically, which means all those people who were born before or on 26th of Jan 1950. Do we qualify for that? Yes. None of us qualifies for that. I mean, I am old, but not that old. Not 26 Jan 1950, which means Article 5 to 10 is of no use to us. Understood? See, there are 7 articles. You don't have to read anything. That is the beauty. Rather, it is Article 11 which is important for us. Please write down. Article 11. Article 11 empowers. Article 11 empowers the Parliament. The Parliament to enact law. To enact law to regulate the citizenship rights to regulate the citizenship right of all those who were born after 26 Jan 1950. Who were born after 26 Jan 1950. This is we people, right? Huh? Now please continue then. In accordance to this provision, the Parliament has enacted the Citizenship Act 1955. The Parliament has enacted the Citizenship Act 1955, which stands amended multiple times. Which Citizenship Act 1955, which stands amended multiple times to respond to the demands of citizenship rights in India. To respond to the demands of citizenship rights in India. Understood? So Article 11 empowers the Parliament, that Parliament will make a law and will control or regulate the citizenship rights in India. In accordance to that power, the Parliament has enacted a law. What is the name of the law? Citizenship Act 1955. And this parent law has been amended every time there is a demand for change in citizenship rights. So very recently also in 2019, it was amended, CAA 2019, which created a kind of a political scenario in the country. Right? We'll discuss a little about the political implications, the reasons what it did. But then it is the Citizenship Parent Act of 1955 which is amended every time. Is it clear to all of you? Now, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it declares citizenship as a human right. It declares citizenship as a human right. Whereas in case of India, citizenship is a statutory right. How constitutional? You just wrote the law, Citizenship Act 1955. It is a statutory right. Getting it? Who is giving us citizenship? The Citizenship Act 1955. So what kind of a right it is in India? It's a statutory right. Now, worldwide, if you look at citizenship, then citizenship is based on two basic principles. One is called as jus soli. Jus soli. Soli comes from the Latin term soil, which means where you were born. So the right of your birth, which means where you were born. That is jus soli. In which soil were you born? Those countries which will follow jus soli, if a child is born in their territory, then the citizenship of that country will go to that child, irrespective of whatever is the citizenship of the parents. Getting it? The countries in the West, like that of US or Canada, they follow the principle of jus soli, which means anyone born in their land will be declared as a US or Canadian citizen, irrespective of whatever is the identity, the citizenship of the parents. And that's why, if you see there is a pregnant woman of Indian origin, of Indian citizenship, she applies even for a tourist visa to that of US, by all chances that will be rejected. Why rejected? If she goes there and by any chance the child is born there, applying, others, you have been typing it again also, it's useless, that's why I'm not replying. जब सोशियो पॉलिटिकल बोला, तुम सोशियो इकोनॉमिक करके क्या एक्स्ट्रा चेंज कर दिए? राइट द डिफरेंस बिटवीन सोशियो पॉलिटिकल एंड सोशियो इकोनॉमिक. जो पढ़ा रहा हूं वो नहीं सुनना है. राइट मी द डिफरेंस. I'll check it. Right. छोड़ो, उसको सोशियो पॉलिटिकल बोले, वो उधर से बोल रहा है स्टेट को सोशियो इकोनॉमिक नहीं बोल सकते। तो पॉलिटी का डेफिनेशन पहले क्लास में क्यों पढ़ा है? रिसोर्स डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, इकोनॉमिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ही तो है। इंग्लिश समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में नहीं आ रहा? बेटा बता, जो नहीं आ रहा समझाता हूं वो। जल्दी खत्म करना है, 1 बजे तक क्लास चलेगी वरना। ठीक है, कहां पहुंचे? यूएस। सो अरे जल्दी जल्दी पढ़ो, घर जाना है यार, पढ़ो। सुनो तो, सो इफ, है चुप, सो इफ दैट लेडी ट्रेवल्स टू यूएस, ठीक है, चलो कनाडा बताते हैं तुमको। इफ दैट लेडी ट्रेवल्स टू कनाडा, ठीक है, एंड अ चाइल्ड इज बोर्न इन कनाडा, then the child, irrespective of the nationality of the mother and father, will be declared as Canadian citizenship. अब तुमको स्कीम समझाते हैं, ठीक? देखो, so if this lady goes to Canada, child is born, so the child becomes Canadian citizen. So the rights, you remember, rights and duties are there because of membership. So this child has got the rights of that of Canada, right? Definitely there will be right to life. That's a natural right. Definitely it will be there. So the life of that child is important. But then that child is dependent on the parents. But parents are Indian citizen. They have to come back to India. But then the child has all the right to stay back in Canada. But child is dependent on parents. Which means logically what? The parents have to stay back with the child. And how the parents can stay back with the child? If they get also the permanent citizenship of Canada. Now this is not the catch. The catch is, these parents who got the citizenship because of the child in Canada, they have got old parents here in Delhi or Punjab, who are dependent on their son and daughter-in-law. If they are not there, then these will not survive. Now life is important for anyone and everyone, right? Now, what is the solution for a qualitative life of the grandparents who are living here in Delhi or Punjab? That they should also shift to Canada and be given the citizenship of Canada. So as a result of one child who was born in a tourist visa of the mother, how many people are getting the citizenship of Canada? 4. So total 5. और यही स्कीम लगा के गांव के गांव यहां से कनाडा निकल गए हैं। भटिंडा सिर्फ कनाडा, ठीक है। चलो नेक्स्ट, दैट इज वन, जस सोलाई, गेटिंग इट? द अदर इज कॉल्ड एज जस सैंग्विनस और जस सैंग्वीन, ठीक है। सैंग्वीन मतलब ब्लड, सो दिस इज द राइट ऑफ ब्लड लाइन, ब्लड लाइन, getting it? Which means descent. So it is all about to whom you are born, no matter wherever you are born, to whom you are born, and whatever is the citizenship of your father bloodline, you will also be provided with that citizenship. Israel, what it says, any Jew born in any part of planet Earth has got a right to Israeli citizenship. What is that? Bloodline. Irrespective of wherever you are born, if your bloodline is that of a Jew, then you have the right to come back to Israel. Getting the point? Now, understand one thing. Countries might go for this. Countries, they may go for this. Country may go for a combination of both. Countries might modify this, modify that, or modify the combination. Countries are sovereign. A sovereign country can take its own decision, so they can apply anything. In India, that is provided by the Citizenship Act 1955. And this talks about two things. On the one hand, it talks about acquisition of citizenship, and on the other hand, it talks about termination of citizenship. Acquisition and termination of citizenship. There are 5 ways by which it can be acquired. There are 3 ways by which it can be terminated. Quickly look at it. It's very, very easy. I'll give you a handout later. You'll read it from there. See, the first one is by birth. By birth means just solai or just sanguine? By birth is solai or sanguine? Solai. India used to follow this by birth principle completely till 1987. So till 1987, anyone who was born in India was declared as an Indian citizen. Anyone who was born in India was declared as an Indian citizen. But then later we modified it, and we made the changes in 1987. So post 1987, dates are not important, 1st July 1987. So post 1987 we said, see, being born in India is fine, but at least one parent shall be Indian. Either father or mother shall be Indian. Now this condition was later evolved and changed in the year 2004. So we said, see, not only born is sufficient, or one parent being Indian is sufficient, rather we added another condition and we said that the other parent shall not be an illegal migrant. The other parent shall not be an illegal migrant, right? Now who is an illegal migrant? Someone who migrates illegally. Here we are talking about countries, so someone who travels from one country to another country without valid travel documents would be an illegal migrant. Getting the point? हाँ? अभी आप किसी को मिले पबजी खेलते हुए, आपका दिल लग गया, आप देश बदल के दूसरे देश आ गए. ठीक है, read it, there are different things. But do you understand? Traveling to a country without valid travel document is illegal migrant. Or another thing might happen, that you are traveling to a country with travel document, valid travel document, but the period, let's suppose, is 2 years. Suppose you are a Bangladeshi and you came to India to do a master's degree, and you are provided with a 5 years education visa. It has been 20 years, you are not going back. That is also illegal migrant, which means your papers have expired. Getting it? Old Rajendra Nagar में जितने लोग रहते हो, go and talk to your maids. Try to figure out from which place they all are. You will understand, Nepal, they will say. Talk to them. Plan करना, हर दिन एक रूममेट बात करेगा. ठीक है? और महीने के अंत में तीनों बैठ के बात करना, 3 रूममेट होंगे, बैठ के बात करना, तुमको दिखेगा कि स्टोरी सबकी अलग अलग है. ठीक है? Most of them are Bangladeshi migrants. ठीक है? Anyways, is this clear to all of you? By the way, are you able to understand that the power of the passport is also increasing? Understand it here. The value of the passport is also increasing, right? That's why the conditions are becoming stringent. Getting it? When you go to US, there will be many other conditions added to it. Huh? So this is the first one, which is by birth. The second one is by descent. By descent is solai or sanguine? Sanguine. So suppose there is a couple who is traveling outside. These are Indian people only who are traveling outside in some other country there, let's suppose Australia, New Zealand, any country. And suppose there a child is born. A child is born, right? Child born to Indian parents. Then in order for this child to get Indian citizenship, there is one thing that is to be done. That is, the parents, they have to register the birth of the child within 1 year at the consulate. Consulate, all of you know, embassy and consulate, the offices of Indian government in foreign lands. So what the parents have to do? They have to go and register the birth of the child in the consulate within 1 year. What if the parents forget? Bhul gaye? Then they have to give an application to Government of India, requesting Government of India with due causes that, sir, please provide the citizenship to this child. See, remember, end of the day, this child is an Indian citizen. So Government of India will be more than flexible to give the citizenship rights to this child. Getting the point? Is this clear? Now, I've been using a term citizenship rights. Citizenship rights. See, your rights of being a citizen are done with these 2 points. Number 1 is by birth and number 2 is by descent. After these 2, by birth and by descent, there is nothing called as rights of being a citizen or citizenship rights. After this, it is something else. Rather, what I'm trying to ask you is that these 2 conditions only gives you citizenship rights. Let me ask you a very basic question. I think I have asked to many earlier also. Tell me something. Tell me one document in India, right now you are having, that can prove that you are citizens of India. There is no such document. If you are saying Aadhaar card, voter ID card, birth certificate, domicile, none of them are documents proving that you are Indian citizen. Getting it? Figure it out. Like voter ID card, you got when you were 18 years old. Before that, you were not citizens of India. Birth certificate is for institutional delivery. Even if an American travels to India and a child is born, then also the hospital will provide a birth certificate, a registration. Getting the point? As such, there is no such document which proves that you are citizen of India. And the beauty is, no one will ask you also. Has anyone asked you till date, show me one document, you are citizen of India? No one will ask you. It is my privilege. First and the last person to ask you this question. That's because being a citizen is a natural right. And look at these 2, by birth and by descent. Aren't these natural conditions? Did any one of you choose where you will be born? Did any one of you choose to whom you will be born? No? Varna choice. सबको पता है सरनेम क्या होता? Right? Huh? Hey, idhar aao. So, these are 2 natural conditions, as a result of which we all are natural citizens of India. Natural citizen means something which comes naturally to us. To all those documents you were saying, you all applied for those documents, isn't it? Be it Aadhaar card, be it a DL, be it a birth certificate, be it a voter ID card, be it a domicile certificate, you applied for it. Any one of you applied for any citizenship card ever? No. Anyone came to your house saying that detail bataiye citizenship card bana denge? None. Why? Because it is naturally coming to you. Remember, natural citizens are born as citizens and they die as citizens. So we are born as Indian and we will die as Indian. Even if we commit the rarest of the rare crime and the Supreme Court gives an order to hang us till death, if we die also, let me tell you, we'll die as citizen of India. No one can take away that identity because that identity is provided by nature to us. Getting the point? Whereas after this, there is nothing called as a natural citizen, which means, or there is right. For example, look at the 3rd one, which is by registration. By registration. So how do you get citizenship by registration? Suppose there is a person who is not a citizen of India, either by Solai or by Sanguine. But this person is related to a person who is Indian. Can you tell me an example? Think about Sonia Gandhi. Was Sonia Gandhi a citizen of India by Solai? Was she born here? No. Is she born to Indian parents? Sanguine? No. But then she married Rajiv Gandhi, right? And because she married Rajiv Gandhi, both of them decided to stay back in India. And for ease, convenience of life, it is better for Sonia Gandhi to get the citizenship of India itself because they want to live here. As a result of which, Sonia Gandhi applied. And whenever you apply, you have applied for so many certificates, there are many conditions. Right? Read these conditions. Conditions like you have to live here in India for at least 5 years. You should provide an oath that you will abide by the constitution. You should know at least one of the languages provided in the 8th schedule, and so on and so forth. There are conditions. Now, once you apply with this condition, this application form will go to Government of India, isn't it? To the offices. and then Government of India is going to scrutinize those applications. After scrutinizing, government may waive off one or all the condition. It is up to the government. But government will scrutinize the file, and then it might give you the citizenship, it might not give you the citizenship. Isn't it? Or can Sonia Gandhi say that because I've married Rajiv Gandhi, it is my right to get Indian citizenship? Can she say it? No, she cannot say it. So unlike you people who could not show me a document that you are citizens of India, she will be able to show me a certificate of registration which will say that Sonia Gandhi became the citizen of India from so and so date. Getting the point? So it is no more a right for people coming under registration. Similarly, look at people under the fourth way, which is by naturalization. By naturalization. And what happens here in naturalization? Again comes another person who is neither a Solai nor a sanguine. Yuvraj Adnan Sami will come here. Huh? Yes, naturalized. So, Solai or sanguine. But this person is not even related to Indian, any Indian directly. Is not related to any Indian directly. Think about Mother Teresa, the best example. Right? Think about Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was neither born in India nor was born to any Indian parents, right? But then she chose India as her workplace. She was working here, and for ease of working, it is better that she takes the Indian citizenship. Getting it? She was not related to anyone Indian, but because she decided to remain in India, she has to apply for a citizenship. And when she is applying, definitely there will be conditions. Right? Conditions like they will be here for 12 years. Now see the difference. Registration 5 years, naturalization 12 years. What do you mean by naturalization? When you stay in an environment for a longer period of time, you naturally acclimatize to the environment. That is only naturalization. If you stay back at a place for a long enough time, you become a part of the natural surrounding. That's why say longer period, 12 years. And then other conditions, oath is there. Then there is Schedule 3 of the Act, which talks about many of the conditions. So there are many conditions, read about it. And once that application is filed, it would go to Government of India, who is going to scrutinize. While scrutinizing, the government may waive off one or all the condition. Tomorrow if Barack Obama applies for a citizenship, the government might waive off all the condition because Barack Obama will be an asset for Indians. Getting it? So it may waive off all the condition, but then it will scrutinize. And while scrutinization is going, it may give the citizenship, it may not give the citizenship. Or can Mother Teresa or Barack Obama or Adnan Sami say that because we are doing good work, we have a right to get Indian citizenship? Can they say it? No, none of them can say it. So remember, citizenship is of two types. One are called as natural citizens, and the other are called as naturalized citizens. Natural citizen is by birth and by descent. Natural, you are not choosing it. However, here is an element of choice. Hence, registration and naturalization is by naturalized citizens. Getting it? In India, once you become a citizen of India, whether it is natural or naturalized, there is no difference between them anymore. For example, in public offices especially, there is no difference between a natural citizen and a naturalized citizen. Getting it? There is no difference. For example, our president has to be a citizen of India. Is one of the qualification? He can be natural citizen as well as naturalized citizen. Whereas in US it is not the case. In US the president always has to be a naturally born US citizen. Getting it? Huh? How will they prove that they have lived in India for 12 years? बेटा कागज करके काम होता है और आपका काम वही कागज चेक करना है. ठीक है? With that paper only they will prove that they have come to India 12 years back. ठीक है? Is this clear? Clear to all of you? Huh? The fifth way citizenship can be acquired is by incorporation of territories. Incorporation of territories. Now India is a sovereign country which can acquire land. Now it is not only land, with land will come people. So those people will also get Indian citizenship. Suppose we acquired Pondicherry from the French. So those people who were living in Pondicherry will lately become Indian citizens, na? Getting the point? So even incorporation of territory also provides citizenship. For example, India-Bangladesh land boundary agreement. Remember, you acquired these land and you ceded these land. Now when you acquired this land, it is not only land, people were also living in this land, and these people earlier were Bangladeshi nationals. Now when we took them, we gave them an option, a choice, that sir, we are acquiring the land, do you also want to stay back in India as Indian citizens? And most of them said yes. ऐसे छुप के घुस रहे थे, अब तो ऑफिशियली बोल रहे हैं बनोगे क्या? तो बोले हाँ. Tell me something logically. You gave a choice to these people to become whether citizen of India or not. Will you also give a choice to their children? They are natural citizens of India because they will be born in territory of India with Indian parents itself. Getting it? So they will not be given a choice. Is this clear? As far as, no sir, in between, wait. Termination. There are three ways of termination. ठीक? पहला वाला is renunciation. What is renunciation? Renounce, to give away is renouncing. To give away is renouncing. Suppose, what suppose? I am a citizen of India, right? Suppose I go to US on an education visa maybe, and then I walked over there, then I qualified the conditions to apply for US citizenship. And let's suppose I applied for US citizenship, and at a point of time I even got the US citizenship. So at a point of time I am having Indian citizenship, but I also got US citizenship. Now I, as an avowed citizen of India, I know very well that in India there is nothing called as dual citizenship. So what I did, I wrote to Government of India that sir, I was a citizen of India, but I got the citizenship of US. As such, I want to renounce my Indian citizenship. Getting it? So it can be renounced. Both natural as well as naturalized citizens can renounce when they get another citizenship. Similarly, the second one is called as termination itself. Now think about the same example that I was out, I applied for another citizenship, I got the citizenship, but here I am not intimating Government of India that I have got another citizenship. But the government will figure it out because ultimately documents will come to India for verification, isn't it? So the government figures out that this person is having two citizenship now. So as a result of which the government will terminate my Indian citizenship because there is no dual citizenship. Understood? So what is the difference? Here I go to Government of India. Here Government of India comes to me. Getting it? The third one is called as deprivation. Deprive. To not give someone. To take away something is what is deprive. Deprivation. Now remember, can anyone deprive natural citizens of their citizenship? No, we are born Indian and we will die as Indian. So this one does not apply to natural citizens. Then to whom it will apply? Naturalized citizens. Now naturalized citizen, they applied for citizenship and they had to fulfill certain conditions. Now let's suppose they applied and got the citizenship, but the government figures out after some time that the information provided by the person was wrong, false, or there was a misinformation or non-information. If that is the case, then the government may decide to deprive the person of citizenship and may take away the Indian citizenship from that person. That is for naturalized citizens. Clear to all of you? Okay. With that, we are done with citizenship. Now do one thing today. All of you have got yellow books? Yellow book. आज घर जाना और ढूंढना कहाँ रखा है. ढूंढना तो पड़ेगा. ढूंढना और part 1 and part 2. Read it today itself. Don't delay it. Otherwise you will never understand part 1 and part 2. कभी नहीं समझोगे इतना टेक्निकल है. Getting it? Please read it today. Okay? Chalo. Is termination, bhaiya ruko, is termination part of deprivation? No beta. Not at all. Termination is different, deprivation is different. Deprivation only applies to naturalized citizens. Under by registration, what kind of connection with citizens of India are required? Tanvi, please read the conditions, beta. That's why I gave you a simple idea that they are to be related to Indians. How they are related is given under that condition. Please read those conditions. Thank you.